there is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
You're gonna do good today, Lou. I can tell.
Yeah? How can you tell, Tommy?
'Cause you're the best salesman there is.
Well, maybe I used to be.
You are, Lou. You always have such neat stuff.
Oh, yeah, I got everything. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Something for everybody. Help me set up the table, will you, Tommy?
Sure.
There we go. We'll be ready to start in a minute.
What's in the bag today, Lou?
Take a look. See anything you like?
Lots of toys.
Always. Which one's your favorite?
Let's see. The little wind-up dogs. They're so cute. And the monkeys.
And the zap gun. It's cool. Pow, pow, pow.
I thought I gave you one to test for me.
You did, but, well, it kind of broke.
Don't worry about it. I'll give you another one later.
How you doing today, Bookman?
Oh, just fine, officer. Another day, another dollar. You know how it is.
Gonna sit up right here in the corner?
I thought I might, yes, if that's all right with you.
Well, just don't block the sidewalk. People coming and going.
I wouldn't think of it, officer.
Or you'll have to move. You don't want a citation, do you?
Oh, absolutely not. All these busy people can't hold up commerce.
You know, Bookman, maybe you should find yourself another line of work. Streets are so busy these days. There ain't much room for a pitchman anymore.
Isn't that the truth?
You got a permit, don't you?
Why, I'm sure I do. Now, where did I put it? Oh, yes, it's in my other jacket. Would you like me to go get it for you, officer?
Just be sure you bring it next time.
I will. Thank you, officer. Good day to you.
Hey, honey, look at these cute stuffed animals.
They are, aren't they? Absolutely adorable. Here, let me wind up one for you.
How much?
Only $7.98 in your choice of colors. Do you have any little ones at home, sir?
Nope, no kids.
Well, a niece or nephew, then. These make great birthday presents, stocking stuffers, a big hit at parties. Have you ever seen anything so delightful? Look at the way they move.
It is cute, don't you think, Walter?
Yeah, but they got them over at the Pick and Save for $3.
Oh.
Now, these aren't your ordinary toy animals. No, ma'am. They walk and talk and bark and jump a full 360 degrees in the air. Plus, you never have to feed them or take them to the vet. I call them the ideal pet. Go ahead, pick it up. Feel that fur, so soft and lifelike.
Thank you anyway.
They're on sale. Special July clearance. Everything's half off today. Gift items for the men, perfume for the ladies. How about a wristwatch? Did you see these genuine gold necklaces?
Street scene. Summer. The present. Man on a sidewalk. Age 60-ish. Occupation pitchman. Name Lou Bookman. A regular fixture for the summer, the kind you pass by every day and don't pay much attention to anymore. A rather minor component to a hot July in the city. A nondescript, commonplace little man with a wrinkled suit, a pork pie hat, and a loud necktie that always seems to be coming loose at the collar. A man whose life is a treadmill built out of sidewalks and street corners everywhere. Lou Bookman, a walking rebuttal to the American dream, which states that success can be carved, gouged, or grubbed out of the landscape no matter where you are, whether it be log cabins or tenement buildings. Because Lou Bookman has not even a nodding acquaintance with success, and his dreams only extend from the curb to where the sidewalk ends. But in just a moment, Lou Bookman will have something to occupy his time which transcends both success and failure. He'll have to concern himself with survival. As of 3 o'clock this hot afternoon, Mr. Bookman will be stalked by his toughest customer to date, a man in a black suit who's out to close a deal of his own and who won't take no for an answer. In the Twilight Zone.
And now, back to our story from the Twilight Zone.
One for the Angels, starring Ed Begley Jr., with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
Sir, how about a nice new pen? Guaranteed to write upside down, underwater, in zero gravity. Ma'am, let me give you a free sample of my new perfume. It's called Scent of Mystery, and I promise it will bring you all the love and romance you ever dreamed of. How about you, sir?
Nothing for me.
No? You sure?
I'm just observing.
The reason I ask is you've been standing there for quite a while. Are you quite sure I can't show you anything? What about a new digital watch? Comes in a gift box.
Not today, Mr. Bookman.
Oh, you know my name. Have I seen you before? You look...
Who are you talking to, Lou?
What? Oh, that man there in the black suit.
Which man?
The one standing by the... Well, I don't see him now. He must have moved on. Strange, don't you think? To be wearing a black suit on a day like this.
It's getting awful late.
Is it really?
I gotta get home before my mom gets mad.
You run along then, Tommy. You absolutely positively can't be late for dinner.
You gonna have dinner now, too?
Sure, Maggie, sure. Guess it's about that time.
What are you gonna have?
Oh, a lovely repast, no doubt. The chef's special.
We're having spaghetti and meatballs. My favorite.
Sounds positively scrumptious. I think I have a can left myself.
I'll help you put your stuff away.
Oh, don't worry. I can do it.
Hey, Lou, can I walk with you?
That would be my pleasure, Maggie, to be in the company of such a pretty girl like yourself.
Hey, Lou!
Hey,
it's
Lou!
Lou! What's going on, Lou? Hey, wanna play with us, Mr. Bookman? Come on!
I'd love to, children, but I must get home to my plants. Delicate creatures, you know.
Your plants?
My wisterias. They've been cooped up in this heat all day.
Oh, so what? Show us some toys.
And magic tricks!
I don't have much magic left.
And the zip gun.
I want to see the fuzzy doggies.
Carrie, is that a new bathing suit?
Yeah.
Well, don't you look nice? And Bobby, where have you been? I haven't seen you all week.
I was sick.
Then you shouldn't play in the water like that.
I'm all better now.
Let me feel your forehead. Why, what's this? A quarter stuck behind your ear. No wonder you were sick.
Wow.
Oh, me, come on!
Me. Come on, me.
I don't think anybody else has a temperature, but maybe you could test these. Let me see. These rings, to be sure they're okay.
Yes, toys! Yes!
Oh, they may look like toys, but they're not toys you can buy at the 5 and dime. Anybody can sell toys, but these, my young friends, are very, very special. Did you know they're among the wonders of the world?
Go ahead, Lou. Give them the pitch.
Young ladies and gentlemen, the rings you now have on your fingers come from a remote corner of the Tibetan mountain country. Do you know where that is?
No.
Well, it's where the wisest people in the world live. The jewels are pattern-shaped and forged by strange little men who work underground, far from the light of day. Some folks call them...
The Moly Men.
Right, Bobby, the Moly Men. They use magic words and incantations to produce what look like toys, but each and every one they make has extraordinary powers.
What kind of powers?
The power to keep a person young forever. Science can't explain it. Your teacher wouldn't believe it, your mother and father either, but it's true. And when the Moly Men are finished, they
say the magic words. Mini.
Mini tekel. Words that hold a strange power from another world, the power of the life force. Watch the jewel in the ring. When it changes color, something is about to happen. You'll get your wish. So remember, be careful what you wish for tonight, children, because it's absolutely, positively going to come true.
You know what, Mr. Bookman? You're my best friend.
No, he's not, Bobby. He's my best friend.
See you later, children, for the Bookman ice cream cone and social hour after dinner. Same time, same place. Don't forget now.
We won't. Come on, Lou. I gotta go home.
That you, Mr. Bookman?
Good evening, Mrs. Magnuson.
Hiya, Lou. Need a hand?
That's all right, Mr. Stolberg. I got it.
You make out okay today?
Oh, yes, as always. Sold out half my merchandise.
Yeah. Looks like you got a whole lot left. Want to come over for a cold one?
That's kind of you, but I'm on the wagon these days.
Well, I'll keep one on ice for you anyway.
Hello, my beautiful wisterias. And how have all you been today? Did you say you're thirsty? I'll bet you are. Here, have a drink of water on me. Not too much now.
Mr. Bookman?
Oh, you could give a man a heart attack sitting there like that.
I didn't mean to startle you.
Say, how did you get in my apartment?
I let myself in.
But you couldn't. I keep it locked.
You are Louis J. Bookman, aren't you?
That's right. Something I can show you?
I don't think so.
Something in, let me see, collar stays maybe, or neckties. You look like a man who needs a new tie. Something brighter than the one you're wearing.
Mr. Bookman, I'm not here to buy anything.
Then what in the world do you want?
Let's get down to business, shall we? Yes, here it is. Louis J. Bookman, age 69, right?
70 in September.
Well, I must say you don't look it.
Nice of you to say so, young man. I try to keep busy.
Occupation pitchman, correct?
Are you a census taker? If you are, let me sit down. I hope this doesn't take too long.
Not exactly. Born in New York City?
That's right.
Father Jacob Bookman, mother Flora. Father's place of birth, Detroit, Michigan. Mother's place of birth, Syracuse, New York.
My, you have it all down in that book of yours, don't you?
We have to keep these things efficient. Now, today is the 19th of July, and your departure is at midnight tonight.
My departure? Excuse me.
Go right ahead.
Hi, Maggie, darling.
My doggies broke, Lou.
Let me see. Oh, here's your trouble right here. See this little cogwheel? You push down on the key when you're rewinding it.
Can you fix it?
I can try.
Yeah! Oh, Lou, you're so smart. You can do anything.
Hear that, mister?
Mm-hmm.
I'd introduce you to, but I don't know your name.
No need.
I think I got it now, Lou. Thanks.
You're very welcome. Oh, this gentleman has come here to ask me a lot of questions. You're not the police, are you?
Hardly.
Oh, kind of gave me a turn.
Huh?
I'm glad he's not the police. I've got my vendor's license here somewhere. I thought maybe I forgot to renew it or something.
Who's the police, Lou?
This gentleman here.
What gentleman?
That one in the other chair.
Which chair?
Mr. Bookman, she can't see me or hear me.
Why not?
Why not what, Lou?
Why can't you see him or hear him?
See who? It works great now, Lou. Thanks a lot. See you after supper, huh?
Wait a minute. What about our manners? Aren't you going to say goodbye?
Oh, yeah. Goodbye, Lou. Thanks.
I mean to the gentleman.
Oh, it's a game. I get it. The Invisible Man. Goodbye, Mr. Invisible Man. See you, Lou.
I can see you, yet she can't.
Only those who are to accompany me can see me. Understand my words, Mr. Bookman? Only those who are to accompany me.
I'm still not sure
Now then, don't you think you'd better start making your arrangements?
Arrangements for what?
For your departure.
My departure where?
You still don't get it. I just never understand you people. You get this idiotic notion that life goes on forever, and of course it doesn't. Everyone has to go sometime.
Go? You don't mean...
That's right.
No, that's ridiculous. I don't have time. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. Let me make you a cup of tea before you go.
No, thank you.
Take a look around. You can see how busy I am. My flowers, for example. I have a green thumb. Whatever I touch, well, it grows, if I do say so myself. I won second prize last year at the YMHA Flower Show. See the plaque on the wall? Wisteria, open class.
Oh, nice.
Nice? Is that all you can say? Look at them, will you? You've never seen flowers like these.
And what I further don't understand is how little you appreciate the nature of your departure.
I thought we were finished with that subject.
Think of the poor souls who go in violent accidents. These are the non-precognition victims. We're not permitted to forewarn them. You, on the other hand, Mr. Bookman, fall under the category of natural causes.
Natural causes? What's natural about it?
As opposed to accidents, car crashes, things like that.
You know, I find you a devious sort of fellow. Very devious. Not to say dishonest.
In what way?
I can see it in your eyes. You don't want to look at me. To tell the truth, I'm not sure I like you very much. Why don't you just come out with it and say what's on your mind?
Mr. Bookman, I have done everything but phone your own undertaker. How much clearer do you want it? If you still don't know who I am...
Don't touch my flowers.
If you need an illustration...
I told you, don't touch them.
I thought this might erase any doubts.
You touched one and it wilted and died right there on the spot.
Sorry. That was unavoidable.
It actually turned black. Do you mean your death?
Exactly, Mr. Bookman. Now shall we get down to business? Time of departure is midnight tonight. I trust that will suit you.
Did you say tonight?
The preordination is for death during a nap. I presume this, too, will meet with your approval.
What if it doesn't?
You'll find this a relatively simple and painless and barely noticeable...
Please, I don't want to go.
They never do.
But I can't go yet. For one thing, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm a healthy man. Outside of a cold last winter and an infected splinter, I don't think I've been sick a day in the past 20 years.
Be that as it may. The departure time is set for midnight, and at precisely midnight it will be.
Don't I have anything to say about that?
Not as such. We are, however, required to consider appeals.
What kind of appeals?
There are 3 categories.
So I need to fill out a form, right? Give me one and I'll start right in on it.
No forms. We listen to what you have to say up to a point, but frankly...
What are the categories again?
Frankly, Mr. Bookman, I must tell you that I see very little here in the way of an extenuating circumstance. In any event, there are 3 major categories of appeals. One is hardship cases.
What kind of hardship?
Do you have a wife or family who might suffer your demise beyond a reasonable degree?
No. No family.
Second category is priority cases. Statesmen or scientists, primarily. Men on the verge of discoveries. I take it you're not working on any major scientific pursuit at the moment.
No, I'm not. What about the third category?
Well, Mr. Bookman, that would be unfinished business of a major nature.
I don't know how major this would seem to anyone else.
Go on.
But I've never made a truly successful pitch.
A sales pitch? Oh, surely you must have many times over if that's your profession.
Yes, it's what I do, and I've managed to get by after a fashion. But I never hit it just right, you know?
I'm not sure
The man I learned from back in the Carney, he had it. He could sell igloos to the Eskimos. But what I'm talking is a big pitch. One where it finally all comes together and the words just flow off my tongue. Not just any words either. Something I believe in. Something so good that people won't have a choice. They'll have to listen. A pitch so big the sky will open up. A pitch for the angels. I guess that wouldn't mean much to you. But it would mean a great deal to me. It would mean that I could have one moment in my whole life when I was successful at something. Just one moment when the children would be able to be proud of me.
The children?
I've always had rather a fondness for children.
That's in the record.
Then you know how I feel.
Not precisely, but... The problem here, Mr. Bookman, is that you'd require a delay until...
Until I could make a pitch. The kind of pitch I told you about.
One for the angels.
That's right.
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Bookman. You see, these categories are fairly specific and...
I see.
And when reference is made to unfinished business of a major nature, well, the only interpretation to be made here is simply that...
That my business isn't major enough.
That's not quite the way we look at it.
That I'm not, then. What other way is there to look at it?
What I mean is that, unfortunately, Mr. Bookman, the ability to achieve success in a given professional venture is hardly of a significant...
I get it. You don't have to spell it out. I'm small potatoes. And who cares what happens to a potato? They're nothing special.
We try to approach each case on an individual basis.
Only some are more individual than others. Oh, don't worry about it. I've heard the same thing all my life. We go out the way we came in. Since I never had that much to start with, that's how I'm supposed to leave. It's not your fault. You're just doing your job.
Means a great deal to you, does it?
You could say that.
Uh-huh. It would be highly irregular.
So's this whole thing, if you ask me.
But under the circumstances, I believe we might...
Yes?
We might be able to grant you a one-time delay, Mr. Bookman. A conditional one, you understand.
Until?
What do you mean, until? Until you've made this pitch you're talking about.
I can stay alive until then?
That's the arrangement. I'll have to think of some way to write it up.
You do that. As for me, I think it's a fine bargain.
More than generous, frankly.
It's been awfully nice talking to you, mister. I didn't get your name.
About this pitch, Mr. Bookman.
Yeah?
When might we expect it?
When? Soon.
What does soon mean to you?
That's hard to say. Gets into definitions, doesn't it? You have a dictionary with you? No, I didn't think so. But it's a pretty simple word when you get right down to it.
Soon means in the near future, the very near future.
Not right away, though. And after a while, it's all relative, isn't it? Soon compared to what? A week? A month? A whole life?
Mr. Bookman.
That's open to interpretation, you see. So my answer to you is maybe not this year, maybe not next year either, but soon.
Mr. Bookman, I have a very odd feeling that you're taking advantage of us.
Do you? Do you really? That's a pity. Because I am.
Mr. Bookman.
I just won't make any pitches at all. Didn't think of that, did you? As long as it's up to me, I won't even hardly open my mouth. I don't have to if I don't want to. That's the term, so you run along now. Think you'll get me, huh? Well, I have no intention of...
Really, Mr. Bookman?
How did you get back in here? I locked you out.
This is much more serious than you imagine.
I have to go now. I promised to meet the children. We have a kind of social club, you know. Ice cream and stories. Lots of stories. Right down there on the stoop.
It's much more complex than you realize what you've just done. What you think you've done.
See you sometime. I'll let you know when.
Here we've gone out of our way to help you, and this is the way you repay us.
Bye now.
Mr. Bookman, it won't just end here, you understand. There'll be consequences. You'll see.
FYI, that means for your information. You have made your bed, and you shall now sleep in it. You say I won't go until I make the pitch? Well, all right. You'll have to wait till I make the pitch. And young man, and this I can say to you without fear of contradiction, you have got a long wait.
That may well be, Mr. Bookman. But since you won't come with me, we've been forced to select an alternative arrangement.
What happened?
He didn't even stop.
Ran right out.
Not his fault.
I swear I didn't even see her. She just jumped off the curb. I didn't have a chance to hit the brakes.
Has someone called a doctor? Who got... Oh, no! Maggie!
I swear to you, I never had a chance to stop.
Call an ambulance. You're gonna be all right, Maggie, darling. Oh, my little Maggie.
Hi, Lou.
See? You're gonna be just fine.
Lou? Who's that man?
What man? Where?
I told you, Mr. Bookman. Consequences.
You can't take her. No, siree, you can't take her. I'll go. I'll go as planned. Never mind the pitch. I don't even want to wait. I want to go right away.
Go where?
Who's he talking to?
What man?
He's out of his head.
Mr. Death! Mr. Death, come back! You mustn't take the little girl. I'll go, please, please, Mr. Death, you will. I'll go with you. Right here. Right now.
I wonder how she is.
A little girl?
Yeah, how is she?
Poor Mrs. Polanski.
Look, here comes the doctor.
How is she, Doc?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
She's a mighty sick little girl. Brave, too.
Shouldn't she be in a hospital?
That's just it. There's no particular trauma. In fact, there's hardly a mark on her, except where she fell and scraped her knee.
Then what is it?
Something's going on with her. Her fighting spirit, as it were. That's not a medical term, of course. But I think we'll know in a few more hours. If she hasn't hit a crisis by then, I'll move her to a hospital bed.
A few more hours?
Around 12 o'clock.
12 midnight, you mean?
I think by then we'll know.
He won't get in.
Who, Mr. Bookman?
I'm gonna wait right here, so he can't get in.
Come to bed, Mrs. Polanski.
I can't. I have to take care of my baby.
There's nothing you can do. That's what the doctor said. She just needs rest.
I can't sleep. How could I?
Lou? Where are you, Lou?
Is that Mr. Bookman she's dreaming about? Such a nice man.
He's like a grandfather to her. But he can't help her now. My precious little Maggie.
Oh, help me, please.
Come on in, Lou. It's late.
I'm waiting for someone.
No, you're not. You're worried about the kid. And I don't blame you. She's a swell little girl. But there's nothing to do now but wait.
What time you have?
11:40. Everybody's gone to bed now. You better do the same.
Not yet.
Take my advice. Give it a rest.
11:40, huh? Better get set up. Who's there?
Good evening, Mr. Bookman.
Thought I'd see you again. You got business inside?
I most certainly do. It's 11:45. In 15 minutes it will be midnight, the time of my appointment.
Mr. Death, the little girl's only 6 years old. Please, you don't have to do it. I'm ready.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bookman.
But I'm ready now.
We had to make another arrangement. It's impossible to change at this point. She's to come with me. So you see, I must be in there at midnight.
And if you're not in there by midnight?
That would be pretty much unheard of. If I didn't get there at precisely 12 a.m., then the whole timetable would be upset. Oh, my, no. It's unheard of.
Nice pocket watch you have there. But have you thought about digital technology?
A wristwatch?
It's more efficient, if you ever need a good one.
What are you doing, Mr. Bookman?
What am I doing? Oh, nothing. Just setting up a pitch is all.
At this time of night?
Oh, I very often have a late-night sale. Very often.
Not many customers out and about.
They come, they show up. You're here, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I'm here. But I'm afraid I'm not much of a customer.
How do you know? Have you ever seen my stock? Now you take a tie like this one right here.
Like what?
Like this tie.
Looks like a toy dog to me.
Oh, excuse me. Here, this is what I meant. Now you take this tie.
I already have several.
Go on. What's it look like to you?
It looks like a tie.
Feel it.
Mm-hmm. So?
If you'll feast your eyes, my good man, on what is probably one of the most exciting inventions since atomic energy, a simulated silk so fabulous as to mystify even the ancient Chinese masters, not to mention the silkworms, a perfection of detail, an awesome attention to fit and finish, a piquant interweaving of gossamer softness, absolutely and positively the smoothest substance ever to embrace the human neck.
If it's a synthetic, as you say...
Come closer. I can't hear you.
How did the manufacturer get it so soft?
It's the thread, of course.
The thread?
I'll answer all your questions in just a moment, but first let me explain the applications of this magnificent invention. Now witness a unique demonstration of tensile strength. Feel this, sir. Go ahead, take it between your fingers, like touching the thinnest spiderweb. Is it not? Like holding the air you breathe in the palm of your hand. Now give it a yank.
If you wish.
There, you can't break it. As strong as steel, and yet as delicate as shantung silk. No mere synthetic substance, but a molecular blend of atoms the like of which has never been seen.
Actually, it is surprisingly strong. Where did you say this was made?
Let me answer your question, sir.
Hey, Lou, what you doing down there?
Come on, you gotta see this.
Yeah, no kidding. It's really something. Do you have a scarf made out of this stuff?
Scarves, blouses, I've got them all on order. You can't hurry the process. Picture, if you will, 300 years of backbreaking research and development to produce the ultimate thread. The which, than which there is no witcher. And what will you pay for this fabulous, I say fabulous, incredible and amazing achievement of the tailor's art? Softer than the feathers of an angel's wings.
Expensive, no doubt.
$20?
Too rich for my blood.
$10. $5. You might indeed pay that much and more. If you were to purchase this at a retail store, consider the markups, import fees, but this exquisite thread is not available in any store.
How did you get it then?
I have connections in the government, you see. It's smuggled in from behind the bamboo curtain by Oriental birds specially trained for ocean travel. Each one carries a minute quantity in a small capsule underneath their ruby throats. It takes 832 separate crossings to supply enough thread to go around one single spool. But tonight, as a special Get Acquainted offer, and to help advertise the product, I'm giving away a very limited number, not at $20, not at $10 or even $5, but at the ridiculously low price of $1 a spool. If you promise to take it home, test it out, and tell your friends.
I'll take all you have.
No, you don't. What about me?
I gotta have some of that for my wife.
Wait, that's not all. Everyone who purchases a spool of this thread gets a free bonus pack of imported sewing needles and a gold anodized thimble. One size fits all. Gather in close now.
You got change, Lou?
Sure I do. You, ma'am. Sir. Yarn, simulated cashmere socks, the most marvelous plastic shoelaces that never wear out, a genuine static electricity filter, fits any car radio.
I gotta go. No more cash.
Me too, if I can carry all this stuff.
Suntan oil, nose hair clippers, eczema powder, athlete's foot eradicator.
I'm getting sleepy, Mr. Bookman. Good night, and thanks. Wait till I show my daughter what I got.
How about you, sir?
I have so many things now. I don't know how I'm going to bring it all back.
One last item, especially for you, the pièce de résistance, an item never before offered in this or any other country.
I can't imagine what else you could possibly show me.
One live, guaranteed, genuine human manservant.
How's that?
For what I ask of you, sir, you receive a willing, capable, worldly, highly sophisticated, wonderfully loyal right-hand man to be used in any capacity you see fit.
Say again? I don't...
Louis J. Bookman at your service. The last model of his kind. He comes to you with an absolute guarantee. All parts interchangeable. A certificate of extended warranty. Eats little, sleeps little, rests only a fraction of the time. And there he is at your elbow, ready to do your bidding, at your beck and call whenever needed.
Mr. Bookman, you are a persuasive man.
I challenge any other store, industry or wholesale house to even come close to matching what I offer you here. Because, my dear man, I am offering you...
Midnight. It's midnight, and I've missed my appointment.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. It's a miracle.
Just give her the sedatives every 3 hours, Mrs. Polanski. All she needs now is rest. But she's going to be all right.
One minute past 12, Mr. Bookman, and you made me miss my appointment.
Thank God.
A most persuasive pitch, Mr. Bookman. An excellent pitch. It had to be to make me lose track like that.
The best I've ever done. The kind of pitch I've always wanted to make. A big one. So big the sky would open up.
A pitch for the angels.
That's right. A pitch for the angels. I guess it's my time now.
As per our original arrangement.
Well, I'm ready.
After you, Mr. Bookman. What is it?
You'll excuse me for a minute. I forgot something. My folding table. You never know who might need something up there. It is up there.
Up there, Mr. Bookman. No need to worry about that. You made it.
Louis J. Bookman, age 60-ish, formerly a fixture of the summer, a rather minor component to a hot July. But throughout his life, a man much loved by the children, and therefore a most important man. Couldn't happen, you say? Probably not in most places, but it did happen in the Twilight Zone.
Hi, this is Carl Amari, producer of the Twilight Zone radio dramas. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our official website at twilightzoneradio.com. where you'll get the latest news and information on these Twilight Zone radio dramas. Plus, at twilightzoneradio.com, you can digitally download 3 free episodes or any of our episodes for only $1.95 each. In this age of ever-changing technology, we've decided to make these episodes instantly available to you by making the Twilight Zone radio dramas a digital download-only series. This means that this series will no longer be offered on CD. The CD collections at our website are now being offered while supplies last at buy one, get one free. So be sure to get your favorites before they're sold out. Be sure to visit us often, and I'll see you in the zone.
One for the Angels, starring Ed Begley Jr., with Stacy Keach as your narrator, was adapted for radio by Dennis Etchison and based on a script by Rod Serling. Heard in the cast were Rich Kominick, Lauren Patton, Linda Ryder, Richard Hensel, Doug James, Adam Tangway, Martin Hughes, Meg Thalken, Roger Wolski, Carl Amari, and Irene Olson. To learn more about the Twilight Zone radio dramas and to obtain audio cassettes and CDs of these programs, visit our website at twilightzoneradio.com. This copyrighted radio series is produced and directed by Carl Amari and Roger Wolski for Falcon Picture Group. Doug James speaking.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are those of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
This is the Emergency Broadcast Network. The Office of Civil Defense has just announced a red alert. Enemy missiles are approaching the United States. Repeat, this is a red alert. Enemy missiles are approaching the United States at a high rate of speed. Arrival time is estimated at only a few minutes from now. All citizens are advised to get off the streets immediately and take cover. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. The first missiles have just hit. Are we still on the air? How long do we have? Good Lord! It's actually happening! This is real, folks! This is not a test! This is real!
How's that, Mr. Radin?
It should do nicely. The volume could be a bit higher, though.
Higher? You gotta be careful not to break those speakers.
I thought you installed subwoofers, state-of-the-art, as I requested.
Oh, we did. For later. Will you hear them? When the explosion hits here, you'll really feel it.
Good, good.
I don't know where you got your sound effects, but you'd swear a bomb was going off outside. I mean a big bomb.
That's precisely what I want.
I got the other TV hooked up, sir, at the end of the hall, like you said.
Let me see.
Here's the remote control. You got your on, and then you got your off and your volume.
Did you load the videotape?
Sure did. Soon as the monitors go on, it starts rolling.
Why don't you show me?
All right, Mr. Radin. Let's give it a test run.
Look at that, would you? There's the street outside. Only now it looks like the beginning of World War III.
Yes. Yes. This calls for something of a celebration.
If you don't mind me asking, where'd you get the footage? Some special effects guys out in Hollywood?
Oh, you might say I have my contacts. Given adequate funding, anything is possible.
Yeah, some setup you got here. All part of the show, huh?
This is not a show. It may be, let us say, an illusion. But this room is not an illusion. It happens to be the best designed bomb shelter on the face of the earth.
But tonight it's for gags, right?
Something of the sort. A practical joke, and I trust a most effective one.
You could say that again, Mr. Radin. When those sound effects start and that stuff goes on the TV, you'd swear the whole world was getting blasted.
That's the general idea. I've got 3 guests coming this evening, rather special guests, and I wouldn't want them to be disappointed.
Well, it fooled me, and I put most of the wiring in.
A drink before you go, gentlemen, to a job well done?
No thanks. It's getting pretty late.
Are these friends of yours?
How's that?
You're doing all this to fool 3 of your friends. They must be, they must be real, like, special friends.
Oh, they are. They are indeed very special friends. This, in a sense, is the moment a man lives his entire life for.
Yeah, I bet. That about it, Mr. Raiden?
Yes, I'd say that just about does it.
Well, we gotta go. So long, Mr. Raiden. Good luck on your party.
Party? Yes, you might call it the best party ever.
Bye, Mr. Raiden.
That guy gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I know what you mean.
This has got to be the #1 kook in the whole country. I mean, can you imagine a guy spending that kind of a bundle just to set up a phony atom bomb explosion?
And the whole thing's set to go off at 11:45. Some kind of fanatic is he, huh? What's his angle?
Practical joke, maybe, like he said.
Yeah, the $500,000, that's some joke. Hey, hit the button, will you?
Yeah, sure. It's a funny thing.
What?
If they was to drop a bomb, if the whole world was to go up for real, it'd be kind of a pity if the one guy left alive was somebody like him.
Wow, no kidding. Well, hey, here comes the elevator. Live and let live. That's what I always say.
Yeah, you got that right.
Let's get out of here and grab some chow.
Now you're talking. Going up?
Oh, yeah. Hard to get used to, ain't it?
This is the basement of a fashionable midtown skyscraper and office building. It's owned and occupied by one Pall, whom you've just met. Mr. Raiden is rich, eccentric, and single-minded. How rich, we can already surmise. How eccentric and single-minded, we shall see in a moment. Because you have just been invited to a very special party, catered and conducted exclusively for residents of the Twilight Zone.
And now, The Twilight Zone and our story, One More Pall Bearer, starring Chelsea Ross, with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
And here's the main course, dear. Baked fish, just the way you like it.
Splendid.
Would you care for some more milk?
Not just yet, Mary. Sit down, please.
Oh, who could that be?
I'll get it.
No, you won't. I hope it's not one of the parishioners.
Wait here.
But you've been on your feet all day.
Dinner will keep.
Nonsense. I'll see to it, dear. Oh, yes, I'll tell him at once.
Who is it?
The most peculiar man.
What did he want?
I'm not sure, but there's a limousine waiting at the curb. He said something about a matter of life and death.
Odd, isn't it? He said exactly the same thing to me.
And beyond that, Colonel, you've been told nothing.
Hardly a word. The driver appeared at the club, something about an old acquaintance.
And you, madam?
I'm as much in the dark as you are. I was busy grading papers when that very strange man in the front seat came to my door. It sounded terribly urgent.
I'll have a word with him. Driver!
Yes, sir.
Where, may I ask, are you taking us?
Be there soon, sir.
Yes, but where? Who do you work for?
My employer wishes to remain anonymous.
Well, isn't this mysterious? Like an Agatha Christie novel.
But surely you can tell us if there's a life in the balance.
Here we are.
Where the devil?
A very nice part of town by the looks of it.
Please exit from the right of the vehicle.
See here, if this is some sort of joke.
I assure you, sir, it's no joke.
Yet you can't even tell me who gave you your orders.
It is an impressive building.
You may use the private elevator.
I know this building. That fountain.
Elevator? To what floor? This one has only one button, and it says down.
I'll enter the code for you.
Well, if it doesn't go up, then it must go
the other way, of course.
This is outrageous. I demand that you return me to the officers' club at once. Driver? Driver!
It appears that we've been left to our own devices.
It was ever thus. After you, madam.
What in the...
Good evening, friends.
That voice.
If you'd be so kind, just follow the hall to the security door at the end of the hall.
There's something vaguely familiar about the tone, but I can't quite...
Enough. It's time to find out what this is all about.
That's right. Just come in, if you will.
See here.
Do sit down and make yourselves comfortable.
Wait, I remember now. Yes.
The accommodations are a bit Spartan, but I trust you'll find them adequate for your needs.
How good of you to come. Colonel Hawthorne, Reverend Hughes, and of course, Mrs. Langsford. I'm delighted to see you all. What? Such blank faces? Don't tell me you've forgotten.
It's Raiden, isn't it? Aren't you Paul Raiden?
You have an excellent memory, Reverend. And how about you, Colonel? Do you recognize me?
Yes, I believe I do. You served with me once, didn't you?
I did indeed. A second lieutenant.
Yes.
In an infantry regiment under your command.
I recall it vaguely, and I seem to recall something else, too.
It's not surprising that it doesn't come flooding back. After all, you had a few thousand men under you, a few thousand cogs in the great military machine. I was only one of those cogs. But then again, you didn't court-martial all of them, did you? That distinction you reserved for me alone.
Oh, yes, I do recall now. You refused to lead an assault on a hill.
Did I?
Refused in the face of a direct order. The delay cost us a company of men.
That was your contention at the court-martial board. It's what sealed my fate. I was dishonorably discharged, Colonel, stripped of rank and booted out.
Oh, fortunate for you.
Fortunate, you say?
Were I permitted to dictate the sentence, I would have had you shot.
Of this I have no doubt. No doubt at all. But what kind of host am I?
Oh, for pity's sake, Paul.
I must apologize. There's a lady present. Please forgive me for not addressing you first, Mrs. Langsford. Do you recall who I am?
Of course I do. I taught you in high school.
Well done.
I don't forget my students. Oh, now and then I find that they get jumbled together.
Of course.
But if I prod my memory a bit, I'm able to connect names with faces. And in your case, with character.
I made an impression on you, did I? That's understandable. Because you flunked me, Mrs. Langsford.
I certainly did.
You dressed me down in front of an entire class, called me names, humiliated me.
And quite deservedly so.
Ah, but that's neither here nor there. I invited you here this evening for another purpose than to dredge up old animosities.
Invited? I can't speak for my companions, Raiden, but the request I received was more in the form of an ultimatum. Your chauffeur said it was a matter of utmost urgency.
Why, yes. Yes, indeed. That's the way it was broached to me, too. A matter of life and death. I was eating dinner, and my wife Mary got up to answer the door. And when she came back, she had such an odd expression on her face.
Ah, Reverend Hughes. Still a bit on the wordy side, aren't you? It never ceases to amaze me, really, how changeless we remain over the years. But I suppose the habits of a lifetime are not that easily set aside, now are they?
Perhaps you'll be good enough, Paul, to get to the point and tell us why we're here.
I'd be delighted to. But first, Can't I get you something? A highball, perhaps, or a cup of coffee for the Reverend? How do you take it, black or white?
Nothing, thank you.
Paul, you're trying my patience.
Habits, Mrs. Langsford. The incredible persistence of habits. You call me Paul, as if I were still sitting in your classroom. What about you? A nice cup of tea?
Nothing for me.
And you, Colonel, a tot of rum, perhaps?
I would be deeply appreciative, Mr. Raiden, if you made your point and then let us leave. You've obviously called us here for something, and I, for one, would welcome hearing whatever it is without further delay.
How staunch, how commanding you sound, Colonel. The military mind never changes either.
See here.
Always pressing forward. Drive, drive, drive against the objective and wipe it out. Colored flags stuck in a map and troops stuck out in the hot sun. An officer must have nerves made of steel and a head full of cement.
As you were, Raiden.
Oh, no, Colonel. Not as I was, as I am. Which rather upsets the chain of command, don't you think? Because I'm in command now, and what I command at this moment is your attention. You see, I've called the three of you here for a very specific purpose.
I think I'm beginning to understand.
Of course you are. Always so intelligent, so insightful. Let's do it in proper chronology. My dear old schoolmarm shall begin. That staunch and intrepid educator who would look so incongruously out of place without those severe spectacles covering those severe eyes looking out of an equally severe face, who possesses such vast prerogatives from the local school board and the vast courage that comes from pitting all her wits and training and knowledge against poor captive children.
Are you quite finished, Paul?
My dear lady, I haven't even begun.
May I make an observation, then?
You have permission to speak. Would you like to address the class?
Oh, just a comment, Paul, on how incredible this whole thing is. That a man like yourself, a millionaire many times over, a big, important man who walks with kings and heads of state and industrial tycoons...
You followed my career. How gratifying.
How incredibly tiny a mind this kind of man must have to dwell on an incident in a high school classroom of some 20-odd years ago, and to let it fester inside of him, as it's done with you.
I've never liked humiliation, Mrs. Langsford, whether it occurred 20 years ago or in the past 10 minutes.
Humiliation? All right, Paul, let's talk of humiliation. Let's talk of your humiliation. Mr. Raiden was caught cheating during an examination, caught red-handed. Oh, not a federal crime, of course, but perhaps just a bit commentative on the nature of the person. And when accused of the act, he tried to plant his crib sheet on an innocent student. How right you are, Mr. Raiden, that I stood you up on your feet and in front of the entire class I told you what you were.
But no room then, was there, Mrs. Langsford, for just a moment of compassion? An iota of sympathy for a frightened and desperate boy?
Oh, Mr. Raiden, I've dealt with frightened and desperate children all my life. And it might surprise you to know that I've given them more sympathy and compassion than learning. But neither sympathy nor compassion can be handed out wholesale like cheap bubblegum. The recipient must be worthy of them, and you never were. You were a devious, dishonest troublemaker. And for all your millions, my guess is that you are still devious, you are still dishonest, and I have no doubt that even now you're a troublemaker.
You haven't changed either, Mrs. Langsford.
Mr. Raiden, after so many years, what can be gained by...
A great deal can be gained, Reverend. A great deal.
But surely...
You can go to the devil, Reverend.
Raiden!
You too, Colonel. And that's not a figure of speech. Tonight, my friends, just a few short minutes from now, you all most assuredly can and will go to the devil.
Mr. Raiden, obviously years have passed between now and whenever it was you felt you suffered various indignities at our hands.
Felt? How conveniently you forget the extent of my suffering. You, for example, accused me of lack of character, and worse, you put a scandal over my head and all but destroyed my reputation.
I do remember now. A young girl whom you drove to suicide, because even at that early stage, you were not a man to hold honor in very high regard.
So merciless and so judgmental. What of her responsibility, her character? You're far from consistent in your dispensation of forgiveness. No, the robes of a man of God never became you, Reverend. For all your pious pronouncements, they never quite fit.
Enough of this. I'm getting out of here, now.
You can try, Colonel.
This is outrageous.
Save your strength. You're going to need it.
Open this door at once.
The doors don't answer to your command, only to mine. They're made of solid steel. The walls are 18 inches of reinforced concrete sheathed in 6 inches of lead. I have my own generator plant, my own air system, and at the other end of the hall, a storeroom the size of a warehouse stocked with food and supplies.
But in God's name, why? What are you afraid of?
Afraid? Hardly. Prudent might be a more accurate word. Remember the story of the 3 little pigs, houses of straw and so forth, and only one built to withstand the blast.
Blast? What blast?
Colonel, you of all people should understand logistics. Does it occur to you why a man would go to all this trouble and expense?
You've built what amounts to be a bunker.
So I have.
But we're not at war.
Not at this precise moment.
You're insane.
Am I?
This is the middle of the city.
Ah, now you're getting warm, closer to the point.
What are you talking about?
About beginning a vigil, my friends. The long wait and the countdown to oblivion.
Will you start making sense? I taught you better than this gibberish.
You are correct, Mrs. Langsford, about several things. I've walked with kings and tycoons, as you so rightly perceived. I've walked with them, and more importantly, I've listened to them, to the things they have to say, the special knowledge they are able to impart because of their positions of privilege. As a result, I manage to keep abreast of the times and usually well ahead of them.
The point.
Patience, Reverend. I'm coming to it. You see, I know things that are going to happen. I pay informants, couriers, high-level attachés and the like for a service, information. And I pay them quite handsomely, I might add.
What sort of information?
Oh, the inner workings of certain, let us say, diplomatic agencies, military installations, information that's beyond top secret, but available if the price is right.
You're engaged in espionage.
Hear me out. 48 hours ago, I received a most interesting bit of news, or rather, several bits, meaningless in themselves, that together form one unavoidable conclusion, something that is known to perhaps only 6 men in the world.
If you're trying to frighten us, it isn't working.
Then let me give it a somewhat finer edge. This evening, this very evening, the world is coming to an end.
Why, of all the...
At 11:45, there will be no more city. No more country.
Rubbish.
Oh, it was inevitable, don't you think? After so many years, so many weapons stockpiled, someone somewhere was bound to become impatient, to finally push the button that brings us to the reward we so justly deserve. And make no mistake about it, we all do. It began when we were born into this cesspool called life. The original fall from grace, from which there is no escape. The earth is an empty graveyard waiting to be filled, and tonight it will be.
What a cynical, depraved view of humanity.
By 30 minutes after midnight, there will be no more humanity. It's too late to stop. Pandora's box has been opened. There's no turning back. They are going to bomb us, and we are going to bomb them. By dawn, there will be nothing left but rubble and bodies. And now, within a few moments, it begins. You'll be hearing the sirens very shortly. That's the red alert. It means their missiles are on the way. Ours will follow soon after with proper military efficiency.
And you are to survive, Mr. Raiden. Is that the idea?
I am to survive, as long as I stay here 300 feet under the ground.
Already buried, one might say.
How about you, Reverend Hughes? Or the rest of you? Would you care to survive too? Or shall I be the only pallbearer?
What?
It can't be.
Don't panic. This whole thing may be a hoax.
Please remain seated. If you require proof, I'll turn on the radio.
This is the Emergency Broadcast Network. The Office of Civil Defense has just announced a red alert. Enemy missiles are approaching the United States. Repeat, this is a red alert. Enemy missiles are approaching the United States at a high rate of speed. Arrival time is estimated at only a few minutes from now. All citizens are advised to get off the streets immediately and take cover. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. The first missiles have just hit. Are we still on the air? How long do we have? Good Lord! It's actually happening. This is real, folks. This is not a test. This is real.
Comments? Perhaps a little military sophistry now, Colonel. A quote from General Grant or Lee or Patton. And you, Reverend, something enriching from the gospel? Oh, my, such silence, Mrs. Langford. Nothing in that vast reservoir, that Pilgrim's Progress mind of yours to fit this situation? No mental eraser you can use to wipe out reality?
I've got to get to my wife.
Oh, by all means, Reverend. Certainly, get to your wife. Hold hands and die together.
Take your hands off me.
You turn my stomach, Reverend Hughes. You know that. Find your wife.
I intend to.
That's not what's on your mind. What's on your mind is what's on the Colonel's mind and the school marms over there. Your precious hide, your sanctified flesh. That's what preoccupies you at this moment.
Let go of me, Mr. Raiden. If I'm to die tonight, I want to be with someone I love.
Very theatrical, Reverend Hughes, but far more burlesque, I'm afraid, than legitimate theater.
Kindly have the decency.
Why don't you have the decency, Reverend, to depart this earth with just a fragment of the truth in your mouth?
What truth?
Tell me to my face that you are so scared, so miserably frightened, that you'd sell your wife by the pound if it meant your survival. Admit it.
If those were the last words I ever spoke, Mr. Raiden, they would also stand as the worst falsehood I ever uttered while living.
Why am I not convinced?
Will you open the door, Mr. Raiden? Will you let me leave now?
Take a look at the monitor first. You might want to consider what awaits you outside before you open that door.
How did you know, Raiden? How could you possibly have known exactly when?
What difference does it make? If we leave now, we might make it back to our homes.
Highly unlikely at this point, but I suppose hope springs eternal. Oh, of course, Mrs. Langsford, back home to your aging sister, no doubt. And you, Colonel, back to the club so you could die with your cronies amid all your medals and memorabilia.
Whatever we do, it's none of your concern.
My dear friends, shall we drop the pretense now, this instant? Shall we all of us now dare to speak the truth? I told you how this room was constructed, steel, concrete, and lead. It is the only place where you can survive. Now, what is all this nonsense about going back to your homes? You mean to say you'd walk out of here to certain death, when by simply staying where you are, you're assured that you'll live?
Are we to understand, Mr. Raiden, that you will permit us this luxury? That you will allow us to stay in your fortress?
Oh, indeed. Indeed, Colonel. As a matter of fact, it's precisely why I asked you all to come. Each of you, in your own way, tried to destroy me. But I will not repay the compliment in like kind. That is to say, I won't require an eye for an eye. Nothing quite as basic, as naked as that.
Then I'd be interested, Mr. Raiden. What is your price?
The Colonel would be interested. I should think so. And I presume the schoolmarm and the Reverend, too, would be interested. I submit, dear friends, that you're not just interested. It's the only single thing on God's earth that has any meaning left. How much will Raiden charge so you can stay here in safety? All right, my friends, here's the all-important price tag. The fiddler has played, and here comes the bill for the music. But be sure to listen carefully, because time is very rapidly running out.
Say it, man. What is your price?
You will, each of you, each one of you in turn, beg my pardon, ask my forgiveness, and if need be, you'll get down on your hands and knees to perform that function.
Is that all?
That's all.
Our Father who art in heaven.
I suggest you prepare your requests without delay. The first bombs have just exploded somewhere near the city. I assure you, the next ones won't miss. Did you hear what I said? I need your decisions now.
Say pretty please.
I beg your pardon?
Pretty please with sugar on it.
How's that, teacher? Speak up.
Pretty please with sugar on it, Mr. Raiden. It's what children say to exact a favor. Children, Mr. Raiden, but they say it by rote. It comes out pure. There's no meanness to it, no cruelty. That's something that comes much later in life. The capacity to damage other human beings.
That's enough.
Not quite. You let me out of here, Mr. Raiden. If I'm to spend my last quarter hour on Earth, I'd rather it be with a stray cat, or alone in Central Park, or with a city full of strangers whose names I'll never know.
Have you lost your mind?
The door, Mr. Raiden. Will you open the door now?
You heard them.
Heard what? Stubbornness for its own sake? Sheer contrariness? Absolute irrationality in the face of that?
Open up, Raiden.
Yes, open it.
You're too blind, or you're too stupid. That must be it, because none of you understand how simple it is. All you have to do, literally all you have to do, is to say a sentence. Just a string of silly, mindless words, like a command, Colonel, like a prayer, Reverend, like a lesson. Nothing more than that. All you have to say is that you're sorry.
I have nothing to be sorry for. You deserve that, court-martial, and more. I'll hardly withdraw my complaint now.
And I, Mr. Raiden, pity you that you still can't see the error of your ways. May God have mercy on your soul.
All right. You want to go out there and die? Go! But you'll all be back inside of 5 minutes. There's the elevator. Go ahead, use it. Carry the farce to its conclusion.
Stand aside.
Where are you going? Up there? To what?
As far away from here as I can get.
Do you hear that? Are you deaf? You still want to go up on the street? Why? To get a good look at the frenzy and the panic and the horror before you come back down here to your only salvation.
Move away from the elevator.
But you don't need to see it firsthand. Watch it from here on the monitor. You can see it happen, the whole thing. Watch as your world is shoveled into a grave and covered over.
Move, or I shall be forced to move you.
You fool.
After you, ma'am.
Last chance. I mean it. It's your last chance. What about it, Hughes? Is life so stinking cheap you can throw it down a drain? No, it's not true. This is no fantasy. You'll be back. You'll see. You'll be back.
This is the Emergency Broadcast Network. The Office of Civil Defense has issued a red alert. The United States is under enemy attack. The first wave of bombers and long-range missiles slipped through our defenses by unknown means and are on the approach now. Evacuation procedures are underway in all major cities. The President will make an announcement as soon as this is real, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a drill. This is not a test. This is an actual emergency.
What? That's not what he's supposed to say.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled programming to bring you this live coverage. Just before midnight this evening, several of the country's major population centers suffered missile attacks, resulting in severe casualties. Siege mentality. Unconfirmed report of nuclear detonations. The White House, the Midwest, the coast. We will remain on the air for as long as...
What's wrong with this? Off! I want this tape off! That's enough. That is quite enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my last assignment as a broadcaster. I can see the bombs going off. And now they're streaking down, lighting up the sky, heading directly for us. A great wind from the firestorm. If you can hear me, I want my wife and daughter to know that I love them very much.
No! 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 No, please. I didn't mean for it to actually happen. There's nothing left. Nothing. The city is gone. Is there no one else alive? Somebody? Anybody?
What's wrong with him?
Must be drunk.
Poor man, he looks crazy.
Yeah, look at his eyes. What's he crying?
All right, Mac, get up. Hey, Mac, what's the matter with you? Got a little too much to drink, huh? On a beautiful night like this. Well, now, let me take you home. Where do you live? Can you tell me that?
I didn't want it this way. Won't somebody listen to me? Isn't there anyone left in the world who can hear me? Someone! Someone!
This is Saunders. I'm in front of the Raiden building. You want to send a car over here right away? Some poor devil's lying on the ground off his rocker. No ID. Yeah, it could be anybody. Yeah, okay. It's okay, Mac. Help's on the way. Now, why don't you come on over here and sit down by the fountain? That's right, in front of this nice building. You weren't gonna try taking a bath in it, were you?
No.
Because then I'd have to arrest you, and I wouldn't want to do that. Can you hear me? Can't you even tell me where you live? You know where you are? Anything around here look familiar at all?
What happened to him?
Another nutcase.
Never saw him.
Is he deaf or blind?
Okay, folks, let's move along. Move right along. Give the poor fella some breathing space till the ambulance gets here. Easy, Mac. Take it easy. You're gonna be okay.
No, anybody. Is anybody left alive in all this rubble? Not another human being anywhere in all the world? Please. Oh, please, God, oh, please.
Mr. Paul Raiden, a dealer in fantasy and human misery, especially his own. Trapped in the graveyard of his mind, and now, as it has always been for him, the only person in the world. The sole pallbearer at a funeral he alone manufactured, in a bleak and empty landscape called the Twilight Zone.
Hi, this is Carl Amari, producer of the Twilight Zone radio dramas. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our official website at twilightzoneradio.com, where you'll get the latest news and information on these Twilight Zone radio dramas. Plus, at twilightzoneradio.com, you can digitally download 3 free episodes or any of our episodes for only $1.95 each. In this age of ever-changing technology, we've decided to make these episodes instantly available to you by making the Twilight Zone radio dramas a digital download-only series. This means that this series will no longer be offered on CD. The CD collections at our website are now being offered, while supplies last, at buy one, get one free. So be sure to get your favorites before they're sold out. Be sure to visit us often, and I'll see you in the zone.
One More Pallbearer, starring Chelsea Ross, with Stacy Keach as your narrator, was adapted for radio by Dennis Etchison and based on a script by Rod Serling. Heard in the cast were David Darlow, Meg Thalken, Rich Kominick, Turk Muller, Norm Woodell, Jeff Lupiton, Roderick Peoples, and Lawrence Nepidal. To learn more about the Twilight Zone radio dramas and to obtain audio cassettes and CDs of these programs, visit our website at twilightzoneradio.com. This copyrighted radio series is produced and directed by Carl Amari and Roger Wolski for Falcon Picture Group. Doug James speaking.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension, a dimension of sound, a dimension of sight, a dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Hank? Hank!
Oh, morning, Captain.
Anything on the radar?
Not yet. No signal at all.
Try 4.0, true. It'll probably come from that direction.
I had her on that all morning, sir. Still nothing.
You're past your time, aren't you? Who's your relief?
Al Baines, Captain.
Baines? I'll see what happened to him.
Yes, sir.
Morning, all.
Anything yet?
Afraid not.
They lost, you figure?
There's no telling.
Okay if we fill our containers now?
Go ahead, as long as the water supply holds out. Be a while till the next batch is ready. Julie, where's your husband?
He was sleeping, Captain.
Get him, Julie.
Is something wrong?
There's something wrong.
Yes, sir.
How does it taste today, Henry?
Same as always, hot, flat, and unforgettable.
But wet. Suffer it a little bit more. 6 months from now, you'll be drinking chocolate ice cream sodas.
You want to see me, Captain?
There's a man in the radar tower who'd like to see you, Al. He would have liked to see you 2 hours ago when you were supposed to relieve him.
I overslept.
Tell that to Hank Parker up there in the tower. Tell him you overslept, and then be good enough to tell him, Al, that you'll stand his watch all day tomorrow.
That's not fair, Captain. It doesn't happen often.
Once is too often, Al. More than once is intolerable. And many more than once is a case history of Albert Baines who likes his sleep.
I prefer it to a stupid game in the hot sun, both of them.
A game, Al?
What are we listening for? 30 years of 2 shifts a day. What have we ever heard? Wind noise. And what have we ever picked up on the radar screen? Dust particles? But anything to make you happy, Captain.
You listen to me. There's a ship on its way, and when it reaches this atmosphere, it may want to be vectored in. They may want landing instructions, wind direction, ground temperature. And if Al Baines is in the sack, we may spend the rest of our lives here. Is that what makes you happy, Al?
How do we know there's a ship out there, Captain? A lot of garbled static 2 months ago that you told us was a message, and then nothing. 2 whole months, and you decide there's a ship coming here to take us back. You make the rules and set the watches and plan the days, and now you tell us the Messiah is coming. And you tell us to pray? The difference between you and me, Captain Benteen, is that I do my dreaming when I'm asleep. You do yours on your feet.
There's a ship coming, Al. All of us believe it.
Because he tells you to.
And we believe him. Whatever Captain Benteen says, that's what will happen.
Sure you believe him. He tells you this is the best of all possible worlds, and by God, you break into song. You're sweating your lives away on this rock, but the captain says it's paradise, and we have to clap our hands. Rule by hypnosis.
Al, there's a ship coming. This happens to be a fact. There's a ship coming. Believe it. I tell you, it'll happen. And you know it's real, just as you know this is real. You haven't forgotten our ship, have you? The Pilgrim 1? The first spaceship sent up to colonize the outer regions? And this plaque, placed here by the 130 men, women, and children who established the first off-Earth colony. We owe them our belief, because they had faith. Don't ever forget that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I better go check on the generator.
This is William Benteen, who officiates on a small outpost in space. An outpost slowly disintegrating under the heat of 2 suns, with the holes, the cracks, the fissures that are the residue of despair. He tries to fill them with faith and to retain a faith of his own. This is a remnant society, a handful of people who left the earth looking for a millennium, a place without war, without jeopardy, without fear. What they found was a lonely, barren place whose only industry was survival. And this is what they have done for decades, survive. Until the memory of the earth, they came from what has become an indistinct and shadowed recollection of another time and another place. 2 months ago, a signal from Earth announced that a ship would be coming to pick them up and take them home. In just a moment, we'll hear more of that ship, more of that home, and what it takes out of mind and body to reach it. Because this outpost is located in the far reaches of the Twilight Zone.
And now, The Twilight Zone and our story, On Thursday We Leave for Home, starring Barry Bostwick with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
Can't keep the generator running, sir.
No wonder. Look at these wires. They're rotten.
That's all we got, Captain.
No backup?
This is it.
Any insulation?
That's all gone, too. We used it on the converter belts.
Well, we have to get the current running somehow. If that refrigeration unit stays off, the temperature in the underground rooms will go up 50 degrees.
Well, we could stop the saltwater converter for a day or so, switch the parts.
Then we'll have to do that. Tell the people to fill up all the jugs they have. We'll be shutting off the water in 6 hours.
Yes, sir. Captain, what about the ship?
It's on the way. We know that much. Then everything will be different. When we get back, the things that are old and worn out, we'll throw them away. Just throw them away.
Captain Benteen.
What?
The main square. Come quick.
It's Mrs. Rodale. She's hanged herself.
Cut her down.
Oh! Mommy, what happened? Is that lady all right?
Get them out of here.
Come, children.
God have mercy on her. You men there, prepare her. We'll bury her in an hour.
Yes, sir.
We now consign to this planet the remains of Mary Rodale. We ask God in His infinite mercy to give her the serenity and joy that she sought while she was with us. And we ask His forgiveness for her sin.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
We ask that this good woman be allowed to rejoin her beloved husband who preceded her in death 11 years ago. Bid your farewells now.
Forgive her, Lord.
Have mercy on her, Lord, for what she's done. A terrible thing.
She didn't know what she was doing.
She knew what she was doing. Better and clearer than the rest of us.
This is a funeral, Al.
The 9th funeral in the last 6 months. Nobody talks about it. We just let it go by. But there have been 9 people who thought that maybe heaven is a place where they can get a drink of water without salt in it, where they'll be able to breathe air without choking on the heat of it.
If you want to talk blasphemy, Al, take it away from here.
I'm talking truth, Captain Benteen. I'm saying that this woman and the others, they took their own lives because living became intolerable. And I say that dying was their right.
Anything else?
Just this question. I put it to everyone here.
Al, please.
No! Isn't living tough enough that we don't have to do it by the book? Isn't it hot and blinding and miserable enough that there shouldn't have to be rules? So that we shouldn't have to suffer by the numbers? Will anyone make the simple observation that there's far more happiness going into that hole than what's left above ground? There's more peace of mind in that dead body than all you mourners put together. All we've got here is anguish. Captain Benteen, let us live with it or die from it in our own way.
Young Mr. Baines here wants us to lie down in the sun. Young Mr. Baines would have us give in to death when there is still life. He would end all the rules. He'd throw away the regulations. There'd be no standing in line for water. Let the strong take it away from the weak. No rationing of food. Let the young steal it from the old. And when that ship comes down to take us back to Earth, it won't find a society. It will find only a pack. There'll be no human beings left. Only animals. There's a ship coming. It's winging its way in now. It's on its way. Say it. Say it out loud. Let me hear you say it. There's a ship coming.
There is a ship coming.
There's a ship coming.
There's a ship coming.
There's a ship coming.
There's a ship coming. There's a ship coming.
That's right.
There's a ship.
A ship.
Yes.
A ship that's coming to take us.
What's that?
Hear that? Can you hear that, everyone? Do you hear? It's the...
Meteor storm! It's a meteor storm!
Find shelter! Get inside! Up to the cave! Get up to the cave!
Julie! It's Julie. She's bleeding.
Quickly! We have to move.
I can't. Something hit my arm. I think it's broken.
Stand aside. I'll carry it.
How is she?
It's just a cut to the forehead. Not very deep. But keep this bandage on it.
Julie? Julie, honey? Can you hear me?
Al?
Don't let her move just yet. She may have a concussion. How's your arm?
It's not broken. Must have been a rock that hit it. Captain, thank you.
For a little first aid. No thanks necessary. I deliver babies, too. You might want to keep that in mind. Now, I'd better go see to the others.
Will it go on much longer, Captain?
I wish I knew. It sounds like it's spending itself.
I've seen meteor storms before, Captain, but nothing this size.
What about the damage, Henry?
2 underground cells destroyed. At least, that's what it looked like from out front.
Everybody accounted for?
I think we're all here, Captain.
I've checked. Nobody's missing.
Thank God. Everyone try to stay calm. The worst of it is over. Jojo?
Yeah, Captain?
You're not scared, are you?
Well, kinda.
Now, we can't have that. Mind if I sit for a minute? We'll talk, you and me.
Captain, tell me about the Earth.
Would you, Captain? Tell us what you remember.
Yes, do.
Well, all right, I guess I can do that.
We'd like to hear.
You, over there, is that you, friend?
Yes, Captain.
And you, Buck.
Yes, sir.
You fill in the holes if I leave out anything. Straighten me out if I'm wrong about any of my recollections. Jojo, I was a boy of 15 when we arrived here. But I remember Earth. I remember it as a place of color. I remember that in the autumn, the leaves changed. They turned different colors, red, gold, orange. And I remember streams of water that flowed down hillsides, and the water was sparkling and clear. And I remember clouds in the sky, white, billowy things that floated like great, majestic ships. They looked like sails.
What are sails?
Don't you know what sails were? In ancient times, that's how ships moved across the water. There was so much water. The men unfurled large sheets of canvas against the wind, and it was the wind that moved them. And I can remember night skies. Night. Endless black velvet with stars. And sometimes a moon that seemed to hang there as big as the face of an old man, looking down on us all.
Captain, what's night?
Why, that was the quiet time, Jojo. Night was when the earth went to sleep. It was the cover it pulled over itself. Not like here, with 2 suns always shining, always burning. It was a darkness that felt like a cool hand brushing over tired eyes. And there was snow on winter nights, gossamer things that drifted down and turned the earth all white. And we could build snowmen the next morning and see our breath in the air. And it was good then. It was right.
So, why did you leave there?
Oh, we thought we could find another Earth, Jojo. Then we found this. We thought we could escape war. We thought we could build an even better place. And it took us 20 years to find out that we had left our home 1 billion miles away, only to be stranded, like visitors, transients, that no roots could take hold in this ground. But it was too late. So we spend the next 30 years watching a clock and a calendar and waiting. But we can't wait any longer. Not a day, not an hour. We have to get back home. There's no more time. I'll go outside and survey the damage. Not much harm. Radar tower's still standing. What? Why, it's... Al Baines, do you hear that noise? All of you, come out here. Do you hear it?
What is that?
That's not a meteor. That's not a meteor. And it's not wishful thinking. Not this time. Those are rocket engines. Look, I remember the sound of them. That's the ship. The ship has come at last.
Wow, what a ship. How fast can it go?
Oh, pretty fast. Watch your step.
Looks like you got plenty of room for everybody.
Do you have any water? Clean water?
We have enough.
Oh, doesn't that sound wonderful?
Delicious.
Careful. I better talk to your leader. You have one, don't you?
Sure do. Captain Benteen.
I don't see...
He's standing over there. Hey, Captain, come see the ship.
Mr. Benteen?
I'm Benteen.
Colonel Sloan. I command the Galaxy 6. Our orders are to transport you all back to Earth.
Colonel, what took you so long?
6.5 months, Mr. Benteen.
100 times that. We've been waiting for 30 years.
Does it all look like this?
Salt flats and scrubby mountains. 2 suns, hot and perpetual.
30 years of it.
30 years. The children have never seen Earth, and some of the older ones don't even remember it.
They'll see it now. Our orders are to get you aboard as soon as possible. We figure that we should be able to lift off on Thursday. Are you still using Earth time?
Of course.
Good. That'll give you 3 days to prepare. Unfortunately, your people will only be able to take what they can carry. Over 200, aren't there?
187 men, women, and children.
It may be a little crowded, but we'll fit you all in. You've been used to a lot of space, Mr. Benteen, haven't you?
Space?
Room to move around.
That's all there is here. That and the heat.
I can feel it.
They'll make the trip standing on their heads if necessary.
I'm sure they will, but I don't think that'll be necessary.
Do you know, can you understand what a godsend this is for all of us?
It's hard to imagine. I can only say your country's very, very proud of you.
What of the Earth? Has it changed?
Not too much.
Still green?
Still green.
And the cities?
The cities still stand.
And war?
As always, I'm afraid. One dies down, another one springs up. But through some miracle and the grace of God, we never had the big one. Now, Mr. Benteen, all things considered, I think you'll find it very much as you left it.
Captain Benteen.
Captain?
That's what the people call me. This place, their very lives, it's all been my responsibility.
You've done quite a job, Captain Benteen. But you can rest easy. I'll take over the responsibilities now.
No need. I'm used to the job, Colonel.
The living quarters, they're underground?
I was saying, Colonel, I'm used to the responsibility. I wouldn't quite know how to function without it.
Is it cooler there, Mr. Benteen?
I'm sorry, I didn't...
Your underground rooms, are they much cooler?
Yes, they're refrigerated. Captain.
Morning, Captain.
George.
The best morning ever. We just wanted to say thank you, Captain.
Why? For what?
For keeping us alive all these years.
That's right. Without the Captain, none of us would be here.
That's not necessary.
You better believe it, Colonel.
I do. I do believe it. Captain Benteen.
Go ahead, Colonel Sloan. That's all right. I'll see to the others.
You know, I don't need this. I'm not going to take this.
Hi, Captain.
Julie, where's your bandage?
Oh, I don't need it anymore.
But we put one around your head so the cut would heal. What's this?
Isn't it incredible? It's called a medicinal patch. You wear it for 24 hours.
It accelerates the growth of new skin. Look at her forehead, Captain. You can hardly see the scratch.
Better put the sling back on your arm, Al.
I don't need a sling. Just this metal band. It's magnesium. Colonel Sloan said my arm would be perfect by the end of the week.
Well, I seem to have had my practice taken away from me. But while we're here, I'd use that sling. I'll bet I've fixed about 500 broken wings in my time, and the only way to be sure it heals properly is to keep the limb immobile.
Where's Colonel Sloan? I want to ask him what to pack.
Eleanor, let me help you with that bundle of clothing.
Thank you kindly, Captain.
I'll carry it for you.
No, thank you, crewman. I've got it.
Here you go, ma'am.
I don't know how to thank you. Are all the crew as strong as you?
That's our job, ma'am. Nothing to it.
Hello there, Captain.
Will.
I'm so excited. How much longer?
Not long. Be patient. May I have your attention, everyone?
Good question.
Quiet, please.
What is it, Captain?
As all of you know, we have less than 36 hours before we depart. And as I told you earlier, there is a maximum allowance of 14 pounds per person. Soon we'll begin weighing your belongings, and if we're over the limit, I'll make up a list of necessary items.
I hope I'm not intruding, Captain.
I was just telling them about the weight requirements.
We'll handle all that tomorrow. I heard you'd called a meeting here in the cave, so I brought Lieutenants Engel and Rafferty with me. Everyone has so many questions about Earth, I thought perhaps this would be a good time.
Actually, Colonel, the purpose of this meeting is simply to make some last-minute arrangements.
Colonel, I used to live in San Diego. Is California still the same?
Sunny and warm most of the time, but not this warm. Los Angeles has become the biggest city in the world.
These kinds of questions, we could just as well handle them when...
Colonel Sloan? Are there still major leagues? My dad used to tell me about baseball and the World Series.
The leagues are just as before, American and national.
What about the Dodgers?
They came in 10th last season. I'm told they need pitchers pretty desperately. I'll tell you what, when we're finished here, we'll improvise a ball and bat and have ourselves a game. How does that sound?
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's do it.
I think it's a little hot for that kind of activity. What we could do is have some group singing. We haven't done that for a while.
I got an old sack. That'll be the ball. Who's got a stick?
What are we waiting for? Let's go.
Please, wait. We haven't finished yet. Jojo, I haven't told you a story in a long time. How would you like to hear a story about... What have you got there?
This is what they call candy. One of the spacemen gave it to me. It tastes...
Sweet, Jojo. It tastes sweet.
Yeah, sweet, Captain. Want a bite?
No, thank you, Jojo.
Back on Earth, we can get all we want.
Something, Captain?
I'm not sure. I'm not at all sure. You've promised them all candy. You've made it sound as if that was what the Earth is made of. Sugar and spice and everything nice. Maybe they ought to be told the truth.
The universal language.
Baseball. You have a limited vocabulary, Colonel. Do you have any idea what the temperature is? At this hour, it's about 110. I don't know whether your crew can take it, but I know my people. They're going to pay for this little athletic event. Some of the older ones, it might even be serious for them.
It's just a game, Benteen. My guess is that it's worth it. Now, I'd better get back to the ship.
Colonel Sloan.
Something else, Mr. Benteen?
Colonel, when we get on the ship, you can tell us what to do and we'll all fall into line. But here, in this place, I'm in command.
I'm not trying to usurp authority, Mr. Benteen, but I really don't see what harm a little game...
It's still Captain Benteen. For now.
Galaxy crewmen, back to the ship. That's an order.
Oh, come on. It's time for rest now. All of you go back to your homes. I'll announce when the new day will start.
I don't know. I guess it's suddenly illegal to have fun.
You happy now, Captain?
I was never unhappy, Colonel. I just happen to know what's right and what's wrong. I ask you to keep your crew in the ship during the rest time. I don't want my people distracted.
You rule with a heavy fist.
If it were 1 ounce lighter, no one would have survived. I've held these people together by will. They'd have died, Colonel, without someone they could hold on to. They'd have withered away.
Not anymore, Captain. Relax.
That's a luxury I've never been able to afford, Colonel. I've never been able to marry, to think only of myself, because of them. I've been a father figure, a governor, a confessor. I've been all those things. And if I hadn't been, there'd be no life here. These are my people. Understand? My people.
What's with him, Colonel?
I'll bear with him a little bit longer, fellas. He's really quite a man. He's got just one minor aberration.
And what's that?
He believes he's God. As far as he's concerned, we're booting him out of heaven.
Yes?
Mr. Captain Benteen is here, sir.
Show him in.
Very well, sir.
Come in, Captain. Sorry my quarters are a bit cramped. Please, sit down.
Colonel Sloan, this is a list of all passengers with their approximate weight and the weight of their belongings after each name. The scale we have is pretty beat up. My guess is that it underweighs by about 4 or 5 pounds.
Fine. All I wanted was an approximation. We'll weigh them in on our own equipment before blast off. This is Wednesday, 12 midnight? I keep getting confused with the constant light. When do the people get up?
About 2 Earth time. The hours from 7 until 1:45 are the hottest. That's when we try to stay indoors. Then we have our meetings at the cave about 2 hours afterwards. We've had to improvise our own schedule.
You've improvised very well, Captain. I looked at the saltwater converter, your electro plant, the sun shields you put up over the crops. Very inventive.
Necessity hasn't been the mother of invention here, it's been the father and the whole family.
Well, you'll be able to give way to progress now. Though I wonder if all of it'll be to your liking. The way you'll be lionized when you get back to Earth. You're referred to in the press as the Lost Pioneers. They're gonna make quite a thing of you when we land.
Oh?
Wherever any of your people settle, there'll be keys to the cities, brass bands. I expect they'll scatter all over the U.S. The government's had inquiries by, well, it must be thousands of relatives. My guess is that they'll just about have time to look into a television camera and then get whisked off.
Well, they won't be scattered, Colonel. They'll go as a group. We'll find a place where we can settle, and that's where we'll stay.
I'm talking about when we get back to Earth, Captain.
That's what I'm talking about. They won't be splitting up. Not my people.
Captain, as a point of interest, did you ever ask them?
Ask them what?
Whether they'd want to stay together.
That would be a ridiculous question, like asking a child if he wants some more ice cream. They're children, you see, Colonel. Oh, chronologically, they range from 6 months to 60-odd years, but socially, psychologically, they're children. I've kept them alive and functioning all this time. Once we're back on Earth, I'll simply continue the process.
Captain Benteen, have you told them that? Have you told them that after 30 years of waiting, 30 years of living in a compound, they're going to travel 1 billion miles just to walk into another one? Have you?
There's no need. They wouldn't have it any other way. To leave them to their own devices, that would be an act of cruelty.
Captain, do me one favor. Just ask them.
Naturally, we won't have to concern ourselves with the colder climates, the northeastern states, the upper regions of the Great Plains. We'll find an area much farther to the south, perhaps Florida or Texas. Southern California has a temperate climate.
Captain, you better tell us about frostbite treatment, because I'm moving to Wisconsin. That's where my family settled originally.
What about Oregon, Captain? That's where Joan and I plan to settle. I've heard about the forest there. New York.
Please, wait a minute. You don't understand. Let me make this clear. All of you will have a chance to meet your relatives. I see no reason why visits can't be arranged, perhaps even for a week or more. But naturally, we'll remain together as a community in whatever land grant we obtain from the government, or whatever given area we can arrange. I can assure you of one thing, and I hope put all your fears to rest. I'll remain as your guide, your consultant. And I guarantee that no one will lack for my help or my advice.
Captain, Julie and I were thinking of farming.
Why, that's a fine idea, Al. We'll farm just as we have farmed, but much more easily. The rainfall back on Earth is so plentiful. And as I told you, there's only one sun, so you won't have to shield the crops. Of course we'll farm. Certainly, we'll farm.
Julie's got relatives in the state of Washington.
You couldn't take the cold. None of you could. But I guarantee that wherever we settle, the farming will be good. I'll see to that. What's the matter?
Don't you understand? We don't plan to stay together.
You don't understand, Al. You've never understood much of anything. If we split up, I seriously doubt that we'd survive.
Al, explain it to him. Go on.
We'll survive, Captain. If anyone wants to stay together, that'll be their right. But if they want to go their own way, that'll be their right too. Am I wrong, Colonel?
You're not wrong. We're to take you back as a group. Once on Earth, you can do as you please.
Colonel, let us settle our differences in our own way.
There are no differences, Captain.
There are differences. There are. Changes that have taken place on Earth. Things we aren't prepared for. Oh, the Colonel has made it sound like a big holiday. The good life just plucked off a tree. Well, friends, I don't want any of you disillusioned. Wherever men live, they grub, they scrabble. They have to dig to stay alive. It's a fact. But together, that's the word, together. We've got to stay together. Think of that word now. Let's say it out loud. Everybody, now. Together. 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 Together.
Looks like the congregation isn't with you anymore, Captain.
What's the matter with all of you people?
Wait. I've made the compartment assignments. I'd like to go over them with you.
Assignments?
There's not much time, and there's some things we have to check off. There's a decompression problem that we've got to tell them about, and a moment of weightlessness shortly after we leave the atmosphere that I want to explain to the children.
Do you know what we called you while we waited for you to come? We called you the Messiah.
Did you?
You were supposed to bring freedom, but that's not what you brought. You brought selfishness, dissatisfaction, divisiveness. With all the misery we've had here, those germs never infected us.
I brought nothing but a ship and a crew and a means of escape. You've had no diseases, no viruses. Did it ever occur to you why? You've lived in a test tube, Captain. Antiseptic and germ-free and sterile. Sure, you're a group, a cell, but that's all over with. Now it's time for you to be what God meant you to be, individuals. Time to break the test tube. Time to rejoin the human race. What I'd like to know is why in the name of God you're so reluctant about it.
Because I remember the human race. This is incredible. Oh, it's really incredible. I was wrong, Colonel. I've been telling them about an Earth that doesn't exist, an imaginary garden. No, we can't go back. It's too late.
Captain, really?
Everybody, gather around. I've got something to tell you. Listen to me, all of you. I want to tell you all. Listen to me, all of you. I want to tell you about the real Earth.
Captain, are you all right?
Let's talk about the diseases.
What?
The viruses, the cancers, the floods and the freezing, the wetness and the cold. And there are other miseries, worse than anything we've experienced. Hatred, jealousy, violence. Listen to me. It's an Earth we don't know. We can't leave here. We'd be committing suicide. We'd die of things we've never been exposed to before. We'd die of the loneliness that animals get in a zoo because we don't belong. We don't belong to his kind. Do you understand me? We don't belong there.
Captain Benteen, why don't you let your children vote on it?
Only if they know what's waiting for them. Only if they understand that Earth isn't any garden. It's never been, and it never will be.
That's fair enough. I'll tell you what Earth is. The same as it's always been. It's a race struggling to survive, just as you have survived. Captain Benteen is right when he tells you that it isn't all a place of beauty. There may still be wars and prejudice and strife. I suppose there will always be jealous men and angry men and unforgiving men. But it has one thing you don't have. Every man is his own master. There won't be anyone telling you when to eat and when to sleep and when to meet, what to sing and how to play. Instead of heat, you may feel cold, and instead of thirst, you may feel hunger. But you'll be men and women. You won't be sheep. You won't be a kindergarten. And when you pray to God, his name won't be Benteen. A vote now, Captain, and the majority wins. Those of you who want to be on the ship 10 hours from now, heading back to Earth, step forward. All right, I'm going. Let's go. Let's go. Go.
That's it.
I suppose that makes it unanimous, Benteen.
Even you, Jojo?
Well, I want to go with the Colonel.
Give me something, anything. Give that sledgehammer. Here.
No, let it go.
Angle! Rafferty! There, sir. Stop him! He's running for the ship!
No. Captain, no, please.
We'll see how far you get. Without a tail fin.
Put it down!
You all right, Colonel?
I'm fine. What about the ship?
Just a couple of dents, nothing serious. Lucky you stopped them when you did.
Captain Benteen, let go. For everyone's sake, loosen your grip and let go.
God help you. God help you all. Tomorrow you think you're getting on a ship headed for paradise. What you don't realize is you're heading for hell.
What about you?
I'll stay here. That's right. This is my home. This is where I belong. This is where you belong. You just don't have the brains or the guts or the sense to know it.
This ship leaves at 0800 tomorrow. If you're not on board...
I want no special privileges, Colonel Slow. No special treatment. If you're to blast off at 8, you blast off at 8. As for the rest of you, you can go on the ship or you can remain here with me. I'll be at the cave. Any who want to remain can meet me there.
That's it, folks. The rocket's fired up. Everybody on board, single file.
What about the captain?
I'll give it one last try. Lieutenant Engel, see to the passengers. I'll be right back.
Yes, sir. Where are you going, sir?
To the cave.
Captain?
Benteen? Benteen, we know you're in here. Please, let us talk to you.
He's not going to show himself, Colonel.
We're leaving now. We have to blast off in 5 minutes. If we don't, we'll have lost our orbital position. Benteen, it has to be now.
Captain, please, come out.
Remember this. If we leave without you, there'll be no other ships. This is where you'll live the rest of your life. And this is where you'll die. All right, Benteen. As you prefer. Let's go, Baines.
Goodbye, Captain.
Hello, friends, all together at the meeting place. Any new business today? No? Jojo, I'll bet you want to hear about Earth. About the rivers and the seas, the blue skies, or the night, the stars and the moon. Which do you want to hear about this time? There's color on Earth, the change of seasons. And the wind brings the smell of the ground, the plants, the seeds, the roots, flower petals, sap from the trees, and the smell of the weather, the rain or the mist or the fog. And on the earth, there's green, the color green, the feeling green. There's something fresh about it, something living. Earth. It's called Earth.
Don't leave me. Please. Oh, don't leave me.
No! Don't leave me behind!
Don't leave me.
A man named Benteen, sometimes known as Captain, who had certain prerogatives. He could lead, judge, legislate, even dictate. It became a habit, and finally, a necessity. William Benteen, once a god, now a population of one, on a distant outpost in the Twilight Zone.
Hi, this is Carl Amari, producer of the Twilight Zone radio dramas. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our official website at twilightzoneradio.com, where you'll get the latest news and information on these Twilight Zone radio dramas. Plus, at twilightzoneradio.com, you can digitally download 3 free episodes or any of our episodes for only $1.95 each. In this age of ever-changing technology, we've decided to make these episodes instantly available to you by making the Twilight Zone radio dramas a digital download-only series. This means that this series will no longer be offered on CD. The CD collections at our website are now being offered while supplies last at buy one, get one free. So be sure to get your favorites before they're sold out. Be sure to visit us often, and I'll see you in the zone.
On Thursday, we leave for home, starring Barry Bostwick with Stacy Keach as your narrator, was adapted for radio by Dennis Etchison and written for The Twilight Zone by Rod Serling. Heard in the cast were Mike Starr, Christian Stolte, Elizabeth Lido, C.J. Amari, Richard Hensel, Justin Kaufman, Kurt Nabig, Joby Cerny, Jennifer Joy, Meg Thalken, Tracy Hernandez, Jake Salins, Doug James, Jeff Lupetin, and Amanda Amari. The producers of The Twilight Zone wish to thank CBS Enterprises and the Rod Serling Estate for making this series possible. This copyrighted radio series is produced and directed by Carl Amari for Falcon Picture Group. Sound design and custom Foley effects for The Twilight Zone by Cerny American Creatives Bob Benson, Craig Lee, Michael Slaybach, and Matt Sorrow. To learn more about the Twilight Zone radio dramas and to contact us, visit our official website at twilightzoneradio.com.
There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Out of my way, you vermin! What are pigs doing out on the street anyway? It's not sanitary. You should be in a sty or a sandwich.
Good morning, friend Woodrow.
What's so good about it?
Oh, that's the spirit. Keep your chin up. What'll it be this morning?
Daily Courier.
Daily Courier. That'll be 2 cents, Mr. Mulligan?
2 cents?
2 cents. Same as always.
Seems more expensive.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now, let's take a look. Government surplus. Can you believe it?
Believe what, Mr. Mulligan?
Government only earns $1.5 million more than it spends. First thing you know, they'll owe money. Then everything will collapse. Inventory predicts every 100th man will own a horseless carriage someday. Oh, that's all we need.
I already know what the newspaper says, Mr. Mulligan. You don't have to read it back to me.
You read it?
Of course.
My copy?
Not your copy, Mr. Mulligan. My copy. I wouldn't dream of tampering with your Daily Courier. I can assure you no human hands have touched that newspaper. Well, except for the printers, of course.
I should think not. At least some people still have standards. Not like Mr. Beaumont, the butcher. You know how much he's charging for steak?
Well, why don't you tell me, like you do every morning round about this time?
17 cents a pound! What do they think we are? Millionaires?
I don't know. 17 cents seems a fair price to me. I really don't know what you have to complain about, Mr. Mulligan. Things aren't so bad. Hello?
You were saying? The only customers you've had in your store this morning are me and this here pig. Thank you for the overpriced newspaper, Mr. Swanson.
Always a pleasure, Mr. Mulligan.
Get out of my way! Out of my way! What is this country coming to? It's a madhouse, I say.
Hey!
Something the matter, officer?
Something's the matter, all right. Don't you ever look where you cross the road, Mulligan?
Look! What are you talking about?
Can't you see that horse and carriage coming?
Where?
There!
Oh, yes, I see it. Damn nuisance if you ask me.
Well, I didn't ask you. No one's asking you. I ought to run you into the station house. That's what I ought to do.
What did I ever do to you, O'Flanagan?
It's Officer O'Flanagan. And why don't we start with causing a public nuisance by standing in the middle of the street waiting to frighten the horses? Just watch your step, Mulligan. You watch your step.
Just watch your step, Mulligan. Some time to live in, this is. Steak at 17 cents a pound. Hats, $1.95. And that lady in the advertisement for Nelson's buggy whips. Shameful. You can see her ankle. Her whole ankle.
Hey! Better move, mister!
Whoa!
Hey, get off the street! You're gonna get run over! You wanna get yourself killed?
You crazy fool! Don't you know the speed limit's 8 miles an hour? Remember what I said about watching your step, Mulligan? Or you just might fall in a horse trough.
Or you might just fall in a horse trough. Well, howdy, ha ha ha. Look at me. I'm a working man, an honest man, a prideful man. And here I am working as a janitor for some crank of a professor and drying out my soaking pants in a wringer. Where's the dignity? Whole world's going to the dogs. That's where it's going. Nothing but trouble everywhere you look. Chickens and pigs walking in the streets like people. Crazy bicycle riders who don't watch where they're going. Government spending money like a drunken man. Racing bicycles on the streets at cost of living. And noise. What the Sam Hill? Never heard a ringer make that noise before. Why is it doing that? Wait a second, that's not the ringer. Something in my pants pocket. What is that? Oh, it's me harmonica. Oh, that's just swell. Just my luck. Ruined. Better hang it up to dry next to my pants, I suppose. I guess I should run the newspaper through the ringer too. Might be able to save it. Not that there's ever any news worth reading, but 2 cents is 2 cents. There you have it. Hot off the press.
It's down here, Fenwick. I want you to be the first to see this.
Professor Gilbert? Oh, can't let him see me without my pants on.
Here it is, Fenwick. Huh? Well, what do you think?
Why, it's astonishing, Professor Gilbert. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Me either. What the heck is that thing anyway?
So this is it, Professor.
Yes, Fenwick. I call it the Helmet of Tomorrow.
Well, that's a stupid name. If this invention's any good, why not call it the Helmet of Today?
Very interesting.
Just think of it, Fenwick. You put this helmet on your head. Twist this dial. Press here to activate.
Here?
Oh, not now. And you can visit any year you choose.
Any year?
You could even travel into the far future.
Future. How about 1891?
No, farther than that.
92?
No. Think far into the future.
How about 1970?
Now you're thinking.
Incredible.
But there is a time limit on its operation.
There is, Professor?
There is. Purely a precautionary measure. No man should be allowed to interfere with the course of history.
Well, how long a period would it function, Professor?
30 minutes only.
30 minutes? That's almost half an hour.
Yes, it is. 30 full minutes in which to study the events of whatever future date we care to witness.
Professor, you're wonderful.
Eh?
I said it's wonderful.
Indeed it is, Fenwick, indeed it is.
Are you ready to test it?
In good time, all in good time. When I'm ready, I shall take my first journey into the future. To the year... 1962? Oh, who knows what wonders mankind may have achieved by then. Very likely I'll find the world deserted and everyone living on the moon.
Or perhaps we'll have a woman president.
Well, I hope civilization will progress, Fenwick, not descend into madness. But now, before I embark upon my test journey, we must toast this moment with champagne!
Champagne!
Champagne! Come, Fenwick! Come!
A time helmet. Now that makes sense. A device that gives you a chance to find a time where there's a little peace and quiet. Oh, let's take a look at this thing. How did the professor set the date? This dial thingamajig here. What year did he say he wanted to visit 1962? No, that's still too close, only 72 years off. And a man might live 72 years if he doesn't get hit by a bicycle. Now, me, I want to go beyond a man's lifetime. How about 2000? No, a little further. 2015. No, not that far. Maybe a few years earlier. Now, it's called the Helmet of Tomorrow, so I suppose I wear it on my head like this. What's that? What did I do? Hey! What the heck? I'm on fire! I'm on fire! Water! Got to find some water! Help! Water! Water! Help! Water! Help! Help!
Mulligan? Mulligan? In the name of all that's decent, put some pants on!
Help! Help! Help!
Mulligan? Mulligan? Hey, where'd he go?
This is our hero, Mr. Woodrow Mulligan, a disgruntled citizen of a small town called Harmony, New York, circa 1890. Complete with the high cost of living, bicycles that exceed the speed limit, and horses pulling carriages with reckless abandon, not to mention an oink-oink here and a cluck-cluck there. Mr. Mulligan, a rather dour critic of his times, is shortly to discover the import of the old phrase, out of the frying pan and into the fire, said fire burning brightly in the Twilight Zone.
And now, The Twilight Zone and our story, Once Upon a Time, starring John Rhys Davies, with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
Hey! Where am I? This doesn't look anything like Harmony. Where the heck am I? Oh, well, wait a minute. It must have worked. I'm in the future. Shoo, you dumb bird! Now, what time is it? It's 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. I've got half an hour to take a look around.
Oh, what's he doing? Better move, mister. Get off the street. You're gonna get run over. You want to get yourself killed? Oh, missed my turn. I better make a hand signal.
Watch out! Hey! The time helmet! Let go of that! That's mine! Hey! Give it back! You've got it hooked on your arm!
Oh, I was trying to turn right. Oh, can't get this thing off my hand. Oh, there, got it. There it goes.
Oh, it's rolling down the street right in front of that kid.
Awesome! A new helmet.
You there, boy! That's mine. Give that to me.
Finders keepers. It's mine now.
Come back!
No way, you freak!
This is crazy. How are you supposed to catch the little brats if you put them on a board with wheels on the bottom? I've got to catch him. Hey, kid! Come back!
Flanagan to headquarters. Hey, Clancy, the emergency at the drugstore was a false alarm. There's not a thing going on here. It's as quiet as a... Hey, hold on there! Pull you back, Clancy. I got some lunatic in his underwear chasing after a kid on a skateboard. I'm in pursuit. Stop! Police! For God's sake, put some pants on!
Flanagan? Oh, no, book. No good. The boy's getting away. There's no way I can... Ah! A bicycle! Now we're talking.
Hey, that's my bike.
Sorry, lady, I just need to borrow it. Thanks.
Somebody stop that jerk! He stole my bike.
Wish everyone was living on the moon. Streets are more crowded than ever, and he's still too far ahead. I'd take a shortcut through this thing. What is a car wash, anyway? Hey, I get getting all wet. What the blazes is this thing I'm in? What kind of infernal contraption was that?
Come out of there!
Oh, not again. That's the boy. He's going inside that store. At least the sign says it's a store. It's more like a palace than any store I ever saw. Oh, look out, you people! Here I come!
Hey, watch out!
Hey! Who closed the doors? Somebody help! I'm gonna crash! I'm gonna crash! I got through. Do they have invisible doormen in this century or something? Hey, kid, give me that helmet back, you little thief!
Take it. It's stupid anyway. Catch.
Whoa! Oh, I got it. And it's not damaged. I can go home. I can go home again.
$6 for a pound of steak? Madam, do I look to you like a millionaire?
Look out! Look out!
What just happened?
The helmet. Oh no, it's broken. And it's 9:45. I've only got 15 minutes left. How am I going to get back now?
Get back, sir? What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? Did they change the language in the last 120 years? I said I need to get back, and I do.
But get back to where? Let me understand this, sir. You have this funny-looking hat in your hands, no pants, and you say you've got to get back somewhere within 15 minutes. Is that right?
Right.
And this hat-like device, what precisely is this thing?
This is a time helmet, mister.
Time helmet?
That's what brought me here. You see, I'm from 1890, and that's where I got to get back to.
What? You say you're from 1890? What proof have you of this, sir?
Proof?
Yes, proof.
Well, I didn't think I'd need any.
Aha! That watch, your shirt and tie, your shoes. Where did you get them?
They're mine.
Where are your trousers?
Hanging up to dry in 1890.
Is it possible? Quickly, who is the president?
What?
The president!
You mean Benjamin Harrison? Look, mister, I haven't got time.
Benjamin Harrison? And before him?
Grover Cleveland, of course, but what's that got to do with...
I believe you. By George, I believe you. You are from 1890.
That is no news to me, mister. Tell me how to get back to 1890. That'll be news.
And this is the device, huh? How does it work?
Well, you have to... Look. I don't know how it works. I'm only the janitor.
Janitor, eh? Then how does it happen that you came to be in possession of this technological wonder?
Why'd you talk like that?
Never mind. Now, permit me to examine your time helmet. Yes. Yes. Primitive but functional, yes. Fascinating. Remarkable for its time, really. Or for any time. Ooh, that's curious.
What's curious?
These look a little like the components you'd find in a digital television.
I don't know what that means, mister, but if you think you can fix it, you better hurry.
Time limit on it, huh?
30 minutes. And there's only 14 of them left. I wasted 15 of them chasing a boy who took my helmet.
And the 16th?
Talking to you.
Let me see now.
What's going on here? What's the meaning of this?
This doesn't look good.
Which of you crashed a bike in my store?
Who are you, sir?
I'm the manager. Would one of you like to explain what's going on here before I call security?
An accident, sir.
Accident?
Merely a minor incident, no harm done. Apart from bicycle tracks on this expensive piece of steak. But none of that matters now. We are confronted with matters of far greater importance.
Why are you talking like that?
That's what I said.
Look at this place. This is a shambles. And who's this man in his... Well, he hasn't got any...
I took them off after I fell in a horse trough.
A what?
It's, slang for, oh, never mind. Come along, sir.
Mulligan. Woodrow Mulligan.
Where do you think you're going?
Out of my way.
Oh, no, you don't. Miss Blodgett, call security.
I said get out of our way.
No.
Come on, Mr. Mulligan. We're getting out of here.
Hey, where you going?
Excuse me, miss. But have you seen a man dressed like something out of a silent movie, only without any pants?
Oh, that policeman, he's after me.
Why?
Some kind of generational grudge. Don't ask me.
Get behind me.
What?
I said, stand behind me.
Excuse me, sir. Have you seen...
I haven't seen anyone, officer.
I didn't say anything yet.
I haven't seen anyone because, I'm blind.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. Hey, if you're blind, where's your dog?
No dogs allowed in the store.
Uh-huh. Well, just watch it, that's all.
Are you blind?
Oh, not me, that guy.
There they are!
Where?
The one you want is standing behind that fat man.
Run! What's the time,
Rollo. My name is Rollo, and the time is, almost 9:50.
Sorry, madam. I guess you still need pants in the 21st century, huh?
Not in Europe, I believe, but in this country it's still considered polite.
Lend me a coat, will you, Rollo?
Oh, of course, here. Excellent! The home entertainment department. We should find the replacement parts we need here. Keep watch, this'll only take a moment.
It'll have to.
Keep a lookout.
I want to address the typical American worker.
Howdy.
Now, you listen to me.
I'm listening.
I'm going to ask you something.
Yes?
Do you think it's right that your hard-earned money winds up in the pockets of those people who are quite capable of working but prefer to be a drain on our society?
Heck no.
But those dummies in Washington say it should. I say, wise up.
Hold on a second. Hey, Rollo. This fella says I should wise up.
That's probably good advice. Who said that?
This fella here in the window.
That's TV.
Who's TV?
TV? Television? Oh, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Trust me, you're not missing anything.
Can you fix it?
The television?
The time helmet!
I'm certainly going to try, sir.
Try? Oh, this is useless. Give me the helmet.
No, wait! Where are you going?
I don't have a lot of time to take in the sights, but I'm pretty sure I saw a repair shop around here. Over there.
Proprietor!
Yeah!
Swanson? Logan Swanson? Is that you?
Swanson's my name, buddy. Jack Swanson. What can I do for you?
Would you come here for a moment, please?
Whatever.
I have something that needs your urgent attention. And these are the components you should need.
Can you fix it?
I can fix anything.
Good.
Leave it with me. Come back Thursday about 2 o'clock.
Oh, very kind.
Yes, we'll be back on
Thursday?
You don't understand. This man must get back to 1890.
1890?
That's right.
You're in the wrong block, pal. This is only 1600.
No. You don't understand. You see, this device here is a time helmet. And this man here, Mr. Woodrow, is from the year 1890.
What are you, some kind of nut?
Look, I'm a scientist, young man.
Young man? I'm 38.
If you'll just lend me those tools, I'll...
Hey, don't touch the tools.
But this is...
Don't touch. Do not touch the tools. I can't stress that enough. I'd let you sleep with my wife if I had one before I let you touch my tools.
Mr. Swanson, do you mind if I read your newspaper?
Knock yourself out, pal.
Does that mean yes?
Yeah, that means yes.
We barely have 10 minutes to get this man back to his, time continuum. Now, if you'll let me demonstrate, it's a straightforward but delicate operation. All we want is this soldered to that...
Don't touch! Do not touch the tools, will you? Can you see that sign?
I can see it, yes. It says we do not accept checks.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna replace it with another sign that says, Don't touch the tools. Right.
Excuse me.
What?
Who is this?
That's the president.
This is the president?
Uh-huh.
Of America?
That's right.
I have been away for a long time.
Can we return to the subject at hand? You don't seem to understand, sir. What I'm trying to say is...
Sorry, are you deaf? This is the last time I'm gonna say it politely. Don't touch my tools, if you don't mind.
Allow me to show this to you.
Don't touch the tools!
What in the world is this contraption?
What did you say?
I'm trying to explain to you that the front...
Don't yell at me! I don't like to be yelled at, okay?
Get it off me! Get it off me!
What are you doing with that, Mulligan?
It's trying to eat me!
It's not trying to eat you, it's... Wait a moment.
Oh, Rolo, what is this monster?
It's not a monster. It's a vacuum cleaner. Everybody has one.
Everybody has one of these?
Yes. Vacuum cleaners are used for simple...
Cleaning their vacuums. Yes, I get it. You people are strange, allowing something like this indoors. What if it gets loose and attacks a child?
Now look, Mr. Mulligan. If you want to get this helmet fixed in time, just sit down quietly, please. Now, how are we getting along, Mr. Swanson, was it?
Not too good. I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. You're sure this isn't for making those fancy European coffees?
No, sir. This is a very scientific piece of equipment. What we're trying to do here is help...
I don't understand. What is that little thing in there?
Oh, well, that is a transition... Where did he go? Mr. Mulligan! Where are you?
I think he just walked into that upright freezer. Hey, ask him if the light goes off.
What on earth were you doing in there? Don't you know how dangerous that is?
I thought it was another room.
It's not another room. Just stay away from everything. Sit down if you must, but everything else is out of bounds. Now, sir, where were we?
Beats me.
Yes, and I wanted to draw your attention to this node over here.
Don't touch my tools if you don't mind.
You see, I'm merely trying to point out to you that in order to facilitate...
Don't point with my tools, please!
Would you allow me to please make this clear to you? All we have is...
Don't you understand?
I assure you I do understand. This happens to be mine. Oh, just a moment.
What now?
Now, where's he going? Stay here.
Stay here? I work here. Why would I be anywhere else?
Just keep working. The clock's ticking.
Yeah, it's ticking, because I fixed it.
Mulligan, what are you doing out here? I thought you said time was of the essence.
It is. But I don't want to go back to 1890 without any pants, so I thought I'd take a look at 21st century fashions. Have you seen these prices? Is this what you pay these days?
I have to pay slightly more. It seems that the hefty gentleman must be continually punished by our judgmental society. Now, come on, back inside before someone sees you. Well, is it ready?
Pretty much, I think. A couple of small, minor adjustments, and you'll be all set.
Good. Finally, I can go home, and not a minute too soon. No offense.
None taken, I assure you. In fact, I would go so far as to say that I envy you your trip, sir.
You sure he's the one from 1890?
Well?
Because you sound like Masterpiece Theater here.
Keep working. Yes, 1890 is a wonderful period, Mr. Mulligan.
I never used to think so till now.
A time of simple, practical values. No traffic snarls, no income tax, no terrorists, no computer viruses. Only peace and quiet. Time to contemplate.
Income tax.
I am a scholar of that period, sir. That is why I've cultivated this mode of speech, appropriate to that time.
Huh?
The 19th century has a charm, nay, a fascination for me. The very thought of having lived in those halcyon days.
I'll sure to be glad to get back there, Rolo. If I ever do.
How much time is there left?
We've got less than 5 minutes.
5 minutes will be more than adequate. Tell me about your town, Mr. Mulligan. Where, for instance, might a scientist find employment?
You are a scientist?
Yes. Are there any in your town?
Well, the only one I know is Professor Gilbert. I work for him.
Oh.
There you go, guys, all fixed.
It works?
Sure. Why not?
Good. Well, what do we do now?
Pay me.
I was talking to Mr. Mulligan.
I know. That's why I said it. I didn't want you to forget.
Pay the man, Mr. Mulligan. Pay the man.
With what? I don't carry any money in my shorts.
Oh, very well. Here's a 50.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Mulligan, the time helmet. How does it work?
I already told you, I don't know.
The year. How do you program in the year?
I don't know what program means, but if you're asking me what I think you're asking me, you just twist this dial, see? 1890.
Good. And if I'm correct, and I usually am, to activate the device, you just have to...
Good. Give it here.
Not so fast, sir.
Hey, what you doing? Don't put it on!
I intend to use it myself in exactly 3 minutes.
What? Well, you can't do that.
Well, I am doing it, sir. I'm returning to that time of bliss and simple pleasures.
And you're just going to leave me here?
Your fate is unimportant, sir. You are only a janitor. I am a scientist.
Why, I...
Stand back! In less than 3 minutes, I shall have escaped this age of madness.
Wait, look, Rollo, I just thought of something.
Well, congratulations.
Look, I brought a chicken with me, all the way from 1890, and all I did was hold it. We can go back together.
You're lying, sir.
I am not. Oh, no, the copper.
Ah! Now I gotcha. What's the idea of running around the street with no pants on?
Rollo, take me with you.
Get off me.
Too late.
1890, here I come.
You're under arrest. Aw, shoot. Mulligan? Where in the name of St. Pat did you spring from?
I'm back. I'm back!
For pity's sake, man. You're still not wearing any pants.
Officer O'Flanagan, you are a sight for sore eyes. Ho, ho! Ho, ho!
1890. Charming. Charming.
Good morning, Fred and Rollo.
Huh?
I said good morning.
What's good about it?
Got up the wrong side of the bed this morning, eh?
Every side is the wrong side. I didn't sleep a wink last night.
No?
No, my mattress feels as if it's stuffed with rocks. And I've had indigestion ever since I've arrived here. This food is terrible.
Well, not today, it's not. Today I got us some steak for dinner. 17 cents a pound, can you believe it? How can they sell it so cheap?
I don't know and I don't care.
Well, suit yourself. But I like 1890. It suits me.
Look at this laboratory. It's ancient. It hasn't any equipment at all.
Listen, I can even get a tune out of my harmonica now.
Stop that! Darn noise. I don't know why I ever came to work here. I don't know why I ever wanted to live here, this barbaric, primitive wilderness. What an utter fool I was to think I'd be happy living in 1890. Of all the dull, miserable, impossible periods of time, this one takes the prize. No sanitation, no facilities, no spring mattresses, air foam pillows, or electric blankets.
Oh, sheesh. This guy is worse than my mother-in-law.
No comforts, no frozen canapes, no microwave meals, no swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated.
You know what, Rollo? I think you'd be happier some other place. Or maybe some other time.
What are you blabbering about?
2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. There you go. Now, here, try this on for size.
Ow!
There you go. A perfect fit.
Oh, no. You can't send me back.
You don't belong here, Rollo. Any more than I belonged in your time. I'll just press here to switch the helmet on.
Get this blasted thing off my head!
Goodbye, Rollo. I hope you'll find the peace and quiet you're looking for. I know I will. Now... Silence. Just what I was looking for. Well, this laboratory won't clean itself unless Professor Gilbert invents something.
Where's Rollo?
Oh, Rollo? Oh, he just left, Professor.
Left?
In a big hurry.
Late for an appointment?
Early.
Strange chap. Complains a lot.
Hadn't noticed.
Talks a lot of nonsense, too. Keeps saying he needs a computer, whatever one of those is.
Fancy word for an abacus, I reckon.
Mulligan, have you seen my time helmet? Mulligan?
To each his own. So goes another old phrase to which Mr. Woodrow Mulligan would heartily subscribe. For he has learned, definitely the hard way, that there is much wisdom in a third old phrase which goes as follows: stay in your own backyard. To which it might be added, and if possible, assist others to stay in theirs. Via, of course, the Twilight Zone.
Once Upon a Time, starring John Rhys Davies with Stacy Keach as your narrator, was written for The Twilight Zone by Richard Matheson and adapted for radio by M.J. Elliott. Heard in the cast were Mike Starr, Rob Riley, Michael Teshua, Malcolm Rothman, George Adams, Jim McCants, Beth Jacoby Deach, Randall Steinmeier, and C.J. Amari. The producers of The Twilight Zone wish to thank CBS Enterprises and the Rod Serling Estate for making this series possible. This copyrighted radio series is produced by Carl Amari and directed by Joby Cerny for Falcon Picture Group. Sound design, custom Foley effects, recording, and editing are done in the Cerny American Sound to Picture Theater by sound designers Craig Lee, Bob Benson, Todd Beyer, and Tim Cerny. To learn more about the Twilight Zone radio dramas and to download episodes, including 3 free episodes on our homepage, visit our official website at twilightzoneradio.com. Doug James speaking.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension, a dimension of sound, a dimension of sight, a dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Mr. Sperry, Director of Development. Please hold. Good morning, sir.
Yes, this is market research. Mr. Abercrombie is still available.
Mr. Jameson's office, personnel. I asked Mr. Sterling to return your call. Oh, hello, sir.
Legal department. I'll connect you with Mr. Farwell.
No, he hasn't. Not yet. May I take your number?
Miss Pepper.
Mr. Feathersmith, how are you this morning?
Miss Pepper, when the old gentleman arrives, will you show him in?
Of course, sir. Is there anything I can get you? The mail's on your desk. I have a list of your appointments.
The old gentleman, that would be...
Mr. Dietrich?
Then it's Der Tag.
What's that?
The day.
Today?
Isn't that right, Helen?
Well, he has an appointment.
He's going to get it. Mr. Feathersmith will have him drawn and quartered and served up in the executive dining room with an apple in his mouth.
Shh, there's Mr. Dietrich.
Excuse me. I have an appointment to see Mr. Feathersmith.
Oh, yes, Mr. Dietrich.
If you'd let him know that I'm here.
He's expecting you, sir. Go right in.
Thank you very kindly.
Yes.
Mr. Dietrich, sir?
Come in.
I can just see him now, that big happy grin before he draws blood. Have a cigar, Mr. Dietrich, before I rip you to pieces.
A cigar, Mr. Dietrich?
You're about to witness a murder, a willful, predatory case of homicide. The victim is a Mr. Sebastian Dietrich, age 77. The killer is a Mr. William Feathersmith, a robber baron whose body composition consists of refrigeration coils covered by thick skin. In a moment, Mr. Feathersmith will proceed on his daily course of conquest and calumny with yet another business deal. But today's deal will be one of those bizarre transactions that take place only in an odd, out-of-the-way marketplace known as the Twilight Zone.
And now, back to the Twilight Zone with Of Late I Think of Cliffordville, starring H.M. Wynant, with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
I said, would you like a cigar?
No, thank you, Mr. Feathersmith. You asked me to come here at 2, and it is now 2. What did you have on your mind?
You've never cared much for my personal habits, have you, Dietrich? Smoking, for example.
Whether I do or don't is really not at issue, Mr. Feathersmith, but the extent of time that you keep me here is, on the other hand, of considerable import. I'm a busy man. I'd like to get on with it.
Oh, by all means. We've gone a pretty far route, the two of us.
Have we?
I owe you a great deal, Mr. Dietrich. I remember vividly the afternoon many, many years ago, back in Cliffordville. You called me into your office. You ran a rinky-dink, nickel-and-dime little tool shop. And you said, Bill Feathersmith, I like your style, boy. I want you in with me. Do you remember that afternoon?
I shall never forget that afternoon, Mr. Feathersmith. I've thought about it a good deal in the ensuing years, and I've never ceased to regret it.
You never did like me.
I wouldn't say that. I have disliked and detested you with great cordiality. I have found you to be, as of the day you walked into my office, a predatory, grasping, covetous, acquisitive animal. Without heart, without conscience, without compassion, and without even a subtle hint of the most commonplace decency. Does that answer your question?
I give you this, Dietrich. You never were a man to toady around with a lot of phony euphemisms. You always did speak your mind.
And you, Mr. Feathersmith, mark you, this is perhaps the singular compliment I can dredge up, have always been a man to speak yours, so why don't you?
All right, then. I'll do precisely that. See this map? It's my empire. Mining over here. Electronics here, and here. Lumber, railroads, minerals. An industrial complex I built up step by step, piece by piece. And in which I take pardonable pride. Yet there's a piece missing.
Go on.
Well, that is to say, there was a piece missing. The Diedrich Tool and Die plant.
Was?
A good, substantial plant employing 13,000 people, some 40 years in operation, not always perfectly managed.
But sufficiently well to make you move heaven and earth to try to buy it. Thank God I won't live to see the day when you get your greasy hands on it.
Of course, as a matter of your financial problems, I happen to know, Mr. Diedrich, that you secured a loan of $13 million. This is the note here, isn't it?
How do you...
I bought the note, Mr. Diedrich. I paid an exorbitant amount of money, far more than it was worth, but it was, let's say, an exceptional opportunity for our lives to crisscross again.
What is your point?
The point is right here on the note. It says payable on demand. So, on demand it is. I want it paid. Not tomorrow. Now, this moment. I want your personal check in the amount of $13 million, or I'm very much afraid I'll have to send out the painters to the Diedrich Tool and Die Works and cross your name off the sign.
Feathersmith, if you call in that note, you'll ruin me. You'll put me into bankruptcy. You'll kill off everything I have, everything I own.
You're a most discerning man. Here it is only 6 minutes past 2. 6 minutes! That's all the time it's taken for you to comprehend that I've managed to kill you off.
Mr. Diedrich, are you all right? Sir, is everything...
Would you like to sit down? You look so pale.
Miss Pepper? Miss Pepper? Where is she? What time is it?
Oh, excuse me, sir. I didn't know you were still here.
I'm here, my good man. I'm assuredly here. And here is the mountaintop. The high rung on the ladder.
I'll finish cleaning later.
No. You may join me on the mountaintop. Here I am, way up on the mountain, like who was it? Genghis Khan or Julius Caesar? Julius Feathersmith.
Don't worry, sir. I'll clean it up.
Who are you, anyway?
I'm Hackett, sir. The custodian, top 3 floors.
Well, how would you like a drink, Mr. Custodian of the top 3 floors? Yes, I have another bottle somewhere.
Thank you, no, but I appreciate it.
How long have you been performing this illustrious task?
34 years, sir. I've been 34 years in the building. I got a gold watch last year.
A gold watch? After 34 years. That's practically as long as I've been in the building. But I didn't start here. No. I know indeed. I started in a little town called Cliffordville. Ever hear of Cliffordville, Mr. Hackett?
That's a coincidence, Mr. Feathersmith. I was born in Cliffordville. Grew up there.
Well, then we have something in common. We're both from Cliffordville, and we both put on our pants, one leg at a time. But there, the similarity ends. Come here, I want to show you something.
Yes, sir?
See this picture on the wall? Know who it is?
Why, I'm not sure.
That's William Feathersmith. Me. Taken in front of our old home in Cliffordville. Now that was a town, wasn't it? That was a real place. Stately trees, gracious homes, beautiful sprawling park, and real people who knew the value of a buck, people who worked hard to get it. There was none of this crazy stuff about unions, retirement benefits, or antitrust suits, or any of that claptrap. Those were the real times, when a man could go up to the stars if he had a mind to, and the legs to carry him, and the fingers to reach out and grasp. Not like now. Nah, not like now at all.
I reckon so.
I'm going home now, Mr. Hackett. May as well. No place else to go.
Yes, sir.
I've been sitting here for 3 hours, all by myself, thinking about Cliffordville. About how I wished it was that way again. I had an old man here today, Diedrich. He gave me my first real job. Well, I fixed his wagon. He never liked me, I never liked him. We both used each other, and I got the most use out of it. I broke him to pieces today, just like he would have done to me if he could. And he's tried, Mr. Hackett, let me tell you. He's tried.
Good night, then, Mr. Feathersmith.
William Feathersmith, what a crock. Alexander Feathersmith is more like it. Alexander the Great Feathersmith. I've got everything there is to get. But I'm still hungry. Understand? I'm hungry. A 20-course meal. I've got a tapeworm inside me that's taken every bit of it.
He cried.
What? What did you say?
Alexander the Great. He cried because he had no more worlds to conquer. I guess maybe he was kind of like you, Mr. Feathersmith.
You know what I wish? I wish I could go back to Cliffordville. Back 50 years ago and start all over. Because getting it all, that was the kick. Not having it, getting it. Good night, Mr. Hackett, custodian of the top 3 floors. Don't forget to wind your gold watch. Oh, at last. Hold on. This isn't the lobby. Hey, wait! I said wait! Where? 13th floor. Oh, great. But this building doesn't have a 13th floor. Hello? Who's there? Hello? Hello? I'm glad you're still here. The elevator let me off at the wrong floor.
Oh, how do you do, sir? I was just about to close up.
Who are you?
Devlin.
Just Devlin?
The first name's not important.
No. I own this building.
I'm aware of that, Mr. Feathersmith.
What I'm not aware of is you're having an office here, whoever you are.
Oh, I've just opened it, Mr. Feathersmith.
Devlin's Travel Service.
As a matter of fact, I opened it for your convenience.
Mine?
Would you care to come in?
Why?
Why, because, Mr. Feathersmith, we've got some business to transact, you and I. Please, have a seat. There's no reason why we shouldn't be comfortable, is there?
I must have missed something. We have business? What sort of business?
Travel, of course. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Sit, please. Now, isn't there anywhere you'd like to go? Your heart's desire?
Well, there was this town.
Of course there was.
The name of the town was Cliffordville.
Ah, yes, Cliffordville. And it was a pleasant town?
It was better than pleasant. And there were the local girls. Oh, beautiful, just beautiful.
They always are. Go on. You were saying?
I remember old Doc Wagner, too. Treated me when I broke my arm. That's another thing. There was none of this blood pressure, basal metabolism, cholesterol nonsense. Old Doc Wagner looked at your tongue and wrote out a prescription, and that was it. And the food, simple, fair, healthy, and delicious. That was the way life was then. Simple.
And you enjoyed that, didn't you?
What? No, I didn't have time to enjoy anything. But I did what I wanted to do. I worked, I scrambled, I dug, I scratched, I pushed, drove, and I went up. Understand? I went up.
And now you're all the way up. But you're simply bored. That's what it is, isn't it, Mr. Feathersmith?
I'm worse than bored. I don't have any purpose now. No plans. No drive because there's no place left to go.
Are you sure?
The sign on your door, what does it mean exactly?
A succinct suggestion of the kind of service I offer, Mr. Feathersmith.
And that is?
Just as it says. travel. Or, more to the point, if you don't mind the rather melodramatic terminology, one might call it time travel.
Miss Devlin, I think we may have something to talk about after all.
Indeed, Mr. Feathersmith. You've got everything you want. And the pleasure is not in the acquisition. It's in the struggle to acquire. Isn't that the sense of it?
Go ahead.
So, let's do this. Let's send you back to Cliffordville. The Cliffordville of 50 years ago. And you can start fresh. Acquire. Build. Consolidate. Do it all over again. How does that sound?
You're not dealing with a bumpkin, Miss Devlin. This isn't one of those sell your soul for a nickel country boys. Try this. You send me back in time to Cliffordville, but I want to look like I looked 50 years ago.
Agreed.
Number 2, I want to keep my memory, everything that's happened since, not impaired one bit.
Check again.
And I want the town to be exactly as it was, the same people.
All very easily arranged.
Now for the price. I suppose the standard payment is, well, what you call a soul.
On occasion, that is part of the transaction, but in your case, I believe we got a hold of your soul some time ago. Let me check. Oh, yes, here it is. There was the crash of the Trans-Mississippi debentures, the company you bought and manipulated. You ruined several hundred people with that bit of chicanery. The bulk of your soul went over to us shortly thereafter, and there are several other items here. Private life, subconscious thoughts and dreams, indirect murders, people you drove to ruin, hopelessness and suicide. No, I'm afraid your soul is not yours to negotiate.
Then what do you charge?
Cash, Mr. Feathersmith. The old Missoula. I have your current assets tabulated here. Were you to liquidate as of this moment, you'd be worth precisely $136,891,412.14.
You're very thorough.
We have to be. Now, the cost for what you ask is nominal. The entire bill, and this covers transportation, clothing, the retaining of your memory, the maintenance of the town in its historically accurate form, including its citizenry, is $136,888,006, leaving you a balance of $2,812.14.
Highway robbery!
Quite a little nest egg, considering.
Considering that I know where the oil is, just outside of town. 1,400 acres not discovered until they brought in the first well. And of course I know the stock market in advance and every important invention over the years. Before it happens, I can get in on the ground floor.
The absolute basement. All things considered, Mr. Feathersmith, it's a fortune.
You just send me back there with my bankroll and watch my smoke. How soon can I go?
I'll handle the liquidation for you. Just sign this power of attorney, and there's no reason why you can't leave, say, tomorrow morning.
Done.
Exemplary, Mr. Feathersmith. You're one of the few remaining rugged individualists. A pleasure doing business with you. Now, Union Airways, 8 a.m., followed by a rail connection the rest of the way. I'm afraid there was no airport near Cliffordville back then. You'll arrive at noon. Exactly 50 years ago. And needless to say, I wish you everything that you deserve.
Little lady, you don't have to wish me anything. I'll get everything I go after. Everything.
You know, Mr. Feathersmith, I believe you. In fact, I have no doubt whatsoever. Care for a cigar?
Here's your stop, sir.
Are you sure?
Yeah, this is it.
Yes, there's the town square.
You need a hand with your bags?
I don't have any bags, and I don't need a hand from anybody.
Then good day to you, sir. Enjoy your stay in Cliffordville. All aboard!
Cliffordville. The devil, you say?
Yes, sir. May I help you?
I'd like to see the president of the bank.
That would be Mr. Gibbons. Do you have an appointment?
No, but he'll see me.
He's having his lunch right now.
Tell him Mr. Feathersmith is here to talk about investments. Some very important investments.
All right, sir. I'll tell him.
Take your time, sweetie. By the time the bank closes, I'll have this dumpy little milk stop tied up with a ribbon around it, deliverable to me.
I'll only be a moment, sir. I don't normally let business interfere with pleasure.
I never allow pleasure to interfere with business. The name is Feathersmith. I'm not a peddler, a drummer, or door-to-door salesman. I'm here to make myself rich, and in the process, you'll pick up a few crumbs of your own.
I beg your pardon?
The Widow Turner's land. The south end of town. Is it available?
The Widow Turner's land?
There were 1,400 acres. Mr. Gibbons, is there an echo in here?
No, indeed. It's just that... Well, sir, you're talking about a valuable piece of property. A beautiful spot. Singing birds and constant sunshine. A Garden of Eden for a man with vision. The potential is unlimited.
It's a swamp for mosquitoes, and the potential's malaria. I just want you to tell me who owns it and how much they want for it.
As a matter of fact, it was purchased from the late Mrs. Turner's estate by... yours truly. In partnership with a Mr. Sebastian Diedrich.
Diedrich, huh? What do you know? Well, do you suppose you and Mr. Diedrich could be persuaded to part with your land, assuming the price is right?
As valuable as it is, well, sir, everything has its price. How does $8 an acre sound?
Lovely.
Good.
If I were an idiot. But I'm not an idiot, Mr. Gibbons. I'll give you $1 an acre.
Well, why don't we strike a compromise and say $6?
Let's say $1.50.
You drive a hard bargain. Mr. Diedrich and I might hold still for $4 an acre.
Mr. Gibbons, you wouldn't hold still for a back rub if it couldn't be converted into currency. $2 an acre, and that's it.
2, you say?
2, I said. And 10 minutes from now, it'll go down to $1.60. Going. Gone,
Mr. Feathersmith. I presume this will be a cash transaction.
You bring the deed over to my hotel tonight, properly signed and notarized, and you'll have your money.
Well, now, sir, this is the way I like to do business. No fiddling around, just two staunch men of goodwill who know what they want. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Feathersmith?
I'll agree with you all the way down the line, Mr. Gibbons, as long as you keep both hands on the table.
Ah, Mr. Feathersmith.
Right on time.
I don't believe you two gentlemen have met. This is my associate, Mr. Diedrich.
How do you do?
Yes, I recognize you, Mr. Diedrich. So very, very much younger, though.
You have me at a disadvantage, sir.
Never mind. Sit down. Please.
I presume you have the cash?
1,403 acres. $2,806.
You like to put all your eggs in one basket, don't you, Mr. Feathersmith?
Don't concern yourself, Mr. Diedrich. I happen to have an exclusive contract with the hen.
Waiter, beer's all around.
Right away, sir.
All right, gentlemen, let's get down to cases, shall we? When it comes to a fast shuffle, I don't mind telling you I'm a very knowledgeable dealer. Comment, Mr. Diedrich?
You have the floor, Mr. Feathersmith. You seem rather anxious to have it.
Just a human frailty to gloat a bit when one has just skinned a couple of professional skinners. I suppose you're thinking that when this pigeon flew into town, you plucked him bald. Well, I sent a telegram to a geologist this morning. He came in on the 1 o'clock train, spent the afternoon out at the Widow Turner's land, made some preliminary soil tests. Care to hear the results?
Feel free, sir.
Then I'll oblige. That crummy swampland you sold for $2 an acre is worth 1,000,000 times that. There's oil in that ground. Oil, understand? Black gold, enough to produce 500 barrels a day for the next 1,000 years. I swear I could almost feel sorry for you. Maybe you didn't hear me.
Oh, we heard you.
Oil. How's that for a shocker?
Well, at the time, it did make us gulp.
At the time?
4 years ago, when the first geological tests were done. Well, there was no doubt then that the land had oil under it, 6,000 feet under it.
Which means that it might just as well be on the moon. There's no way that oil can be taken out.
What do you mean, no way? I could drill down a mile, 2 miles if need be.
Well, you could, perhaps, Mr. Feathersmith, but nobody else on Earth could, unless you've already invented such a drill.
Of course, I forgot. It wasn't until several years later that they came up with a drill bit strong enough to...
Something wrong, Mr. Feathersmith? Not feeling too well?
Something I ate.
Oh, something you ate, no doubt. Something like crow, sir?
Excuse me.
Mr. Kronk, this here is Mr.
Feathersmith.
Yeah, he says he wants to talk to us about inventions.
What kind of inventions?
Something that'll turn this 2-bit bicycle shop into a factory.
Such as?
Well, for starters, how about a motor-driven scooter for kids?
You want to enlarge upon that, Mr. Feathersmith?
What do you mean enlarge upon it? It's a gadget that gets kids around town. Teenagers, too, even businessmen.
What's it used for?
It's used to make about $200 million. That's what it's used for. Lightweight aluminum with wheels and an electric motor.
What's wrong with foot power?
Everyone's gonna want these. Kids will be begging Santa Claus for them. Look, I'm handing you the whole thing on a platter. All you have to do is build it.
Well, I'll tell you what. You draw me a blueprint and some specifications, and Mr. Clark and I will give it a try.
I'm no crummy draftsman. I've given you the principle. All you have to do is manufacture it.
Not without a blueprint and specs and some backing. You have any money?
I can get it. Anyone with a little imagination could see.
Well, only place that makes loans around here is the bank. That'd be Mr. Gibbons. You better talk to him first, with your blueprints, of course.
I don't need you. What other machine shops are there in this hick town?
Well, you might try Otis over at the gas station. He's got all kinds of tools. Of course, he's pretty busy regrooving people's tires.
See you in the funny papers, boys. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words.
What was his name again? Featherhead?
Modems. You connect your home computer to the telephone line.
Your home what?
Cable television. You pick up the signal from a satellite.
What's a satellite?
Listen, you download it over a dish network.
Dishes? But nobody watches TV in the kitchen.
Pantyhose. I say take off your garter belt now and throw it out. Now.
And I say get out of my store. All the way out. You have a filthy mouth, sir.
Diedrich! I know this is your house. Come out here.
Who's out there?
It's me, Feathersmith.
Do you know what time it is?
It's 50 years too early. That's what time it is. Listen, I played it all wrong. I should have had it done the way it happened in the first place. I'll start in the morning, just like I did before.
What are you talking about?
You said I had get up and go. You said I had drive. Then I went to work for you and I moved up from there.
You want to do what again?
I want to go to work for you.
I wouldn't hire you if you were the last man on Earth. You're a loudmouth clod born to get suckered out of his last quarter. Now let me have my sleep.
I got to rest. Oh, this pain in my chest.
Are you all right, sir? You look pale. Why don't you sit down on this bench?
Doc Wagner? Is that you?
Now, you must be the new fella in town.
Nothing but idiots in this place.
Now, take it easy. That's not a very good pulse. Not good at all.
Never mind that. How do I get through to these village idiots here? They're peddling their lives away on bicycles, and I'm trying to give them the space age.
I don't know much about that. But I can tell a bad pulse when I feel one, and yours feels like the heart of a 75-year-old man. You sure don't take care of yourself.
What did you say? The pulse of a what?
A man in his 70s. If I've said it before, I've said it 100 times. Modern man drives himself to an early grave just trying to keep up with the pace of life nowadays.
Why, that dirty, cheap little thief. She didn't change me inside. That's why I'm so tired. That's why I can't make it here, because inside I'm old, the way I was.
Swallow 2 of these pills.
You horse doctor. I remember when you were diagnosing acute appendicitis as cramp colic. Go on, get out of here. You couldn't diagnose anything.
Well, I can diagnose insanity when I see it. And that's what my diagnosis is in your case. Insanity. Plain and simple.
I don't need you. I don't need this jerkwater town.
If I were you, I'd check myself in for observation. At a mental hospital.
Well, you're not me. It was that Devlin dame. That dirty, two-timing little hustler.
Why, Mr. Feathersmith, everything all right? You look a bit queasy.
You miserable.
Now, let's be fair. Nothing was said about changing your chronological age. You wanted to look 30. And you do. We said nothing about your insides. Your heart, veins, kidneys.
What about this town?
You wanted it as it was. The contract was very specific. It's really not my fault that your memory is so imperfect. And as to the possibility of investments, your problem was that you leapt before you looked.
But everything else is wrong, too. I mean, the deals, the inventions. They've never heard of space shuttles or microchips or...
Of course they haven't. And you, Mr. Feathersmith, because you're a wheeler-dealer, a raider, because you're a taker instead of a bringer, you are now what is commonly referred to as behind the old 8-ball.
Look, I don't want much. I swear to you. Make it the way it was, that's all. Get me back with Dietrich. Let me start out there, that's all I ask.
I think we might be able to arrange that. Mind you, purely as a gesture of sympathy, though it hurts me to mouth the word. Frankly, you are so unhappy, so totally abject a creature that I cannot find it in my... well, in the place where you'd normally find a heart, to leave you here. There's a train out at midnight. A special train.
Bless you, Miss Devlin.
Please.
I won't forget this.
There is a small surcharge for the service.
How much?
$40. Things do cost, Mr. Feathersmith.
I don't have $40. I don't have 10. I don't have...
What's this in your pocket? Well, how about that? This is your night. You have one negotiable item left. The deed. All you need to do is liquidate it.
But who'd buy it?
That I wouldn't know.
What do I do?
You've got a few seconds. Find yourself a customer. It's as simple as that.
But where?
There's a young fellow over there on his way home. You could ask him.
It's bargain night, right here.
Huh?
1,400 acres of singing birds, constant sunshine, all for $40. Here, please.
Well, for $40, I might be able to...
All aboard! Please hurry. There. You won't be sorry. You'll be rich. Hey, what's your name, young fella?
Hackett, sir. Bill Hackett.
Yes, want something?
I was gonna clean up, sir.
So clean up. Who are you?
Feathersmith, sir.
Great old town.
What is, sir?
I was just thinking about Cliffordville. That's where I grew up, got my start.
That's a coincidence. I grew up in Cliffordville, too.
Well, now, how similar we are, Mr. Feathersmith. We both came from Cliffordville, and we both put our pants on one leg at a time. And here we both wind up in the same building. Each with his own particular function, eh?
Yes, sir, our own particular function. They gave me a gold watch 4 years ago. My 40th year as custodian.
Well now, maybe for your next 40 years, if you really apply yourself, Featherstone, I'll get you a box of these imported Cuban cigars. What do you think of that?
That sounds great, Mr. Hackett, sir.
Have one now, why don't you? On me.
Mr. William J. Feathersmith, tycoon, who tried the track one more time and found it muddier than he remembered it, proving with at least some degree of conclusiveness that nice guys don't always finish last, and some people should quit when they're ahead. Our tale of Iron Men and irony, delivered FOB from the Twilight Zone.
Hi, this is Carl Amari, producer of the Twilight Zone radio dramas. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our official website at twilightzoneradio.com, where you'll get the latest news and information on these Twilight Zone radio dramas. Plus, at twilightzoneradio.com, you can digitally download 3 free episodes or any of our episodes for only $1.95 each. In this age of ever-changing technology, we've decided to make these episodes instantly available to you by making the Twilight Zone radio dramas a digital download-only series. This means that this series will no longer be offered on CD. The CD collections at our website are now being offered while supplies last at buy one, get one free. So be sure to get your favorites before they're sold out. Be sure to visit us often, and I'll see you in the zone.
Of late, I Think of Cliffordville, starring H.M. Wynant, with Stacy Keach as your narrator, was adapted for radio by Dennis Etchison and based on a script by Rod Serling from a story by Malcolm Jameson. Heard in the cast were Susan Hart, Joe Forbrick, Doug James, Christian Stolte, Mike Baccarella, Jeff Lupetin, Meg Thalken, Jessica Schramm, Lynn Foley, Carl Amari, and Christy Schramm. To learn more about the Twilight Zone radio dramas and to obtain audio cassettes and CDs of these programs, visit our website at twilightzoneradio.com. This copyrighted radio series is produced and directed by Carl Amari and Roger Wolski for Falcon Picture Group. Doug James speaking.